All right. I think we're okay now. I think we're okay. I think we're in the clear. I think we're in the clear. Whew. Blood. It's crazy. I wasn't on mute, It just kept on trying to take me out of the game. All right, cool. So, guys, welcome to Little Black Book. False starts happen. Do you know what I mean? Welcome to Little Black Book. We are giving you guys a review. I guess we're giving a super panel review tonight, but we are inviting you guys to come on the show and have your say. This is an opportunity for you guys to give us your views, your opinions, your thoughts about Married at First Sight, season 13, episode 5. I must say, one thing about this season is it's very low key. I feel a little bit bad because I kind of feel like we need toxicity in here. I'm kidding. But you know what? It's so much more different than season 12 where we got so much toxicity, so much, this season is a bit more calmer as it has been in other seasons, and there's little things that are a little bit annoying. Specifically, Mila on this episode, who just keeps on complaining. But I must say, Gil's got to have some smoke today as well for some of his particular behavior as well. Let's also talk about obviously Michaela and Zach. Unfortunately, till COVID do us part. COVID got the better of Zach and Michaela, and she was without her husband throughout the case throughout the case of this particular honeymoon. So I do feel for her in that respect. We also had Bao and Johnny, which I think are making great progress right now. They are an unstoppable train at this moment. I'm seeing Bao even touching Johnny around the waist. I'm seeing a lot of flirty touches right now. So I've got a lot of hope for them. We've also got who do we else we have? We have we have Rachel and Yosei. I think they're a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. I want to have smoke for Yosei, but I've also got to have a little bit of smoke as well for Rachel, because she is super independent and really trying to prove you can't hold me down. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, no, 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 no. Hey, 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 hey. You know what I'm saying? Like, she wants to make sure she pay her own bills. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not beefing at that, but it's starting to cause a little bit of stirring up within the relationships that are happening at the moment. We also have as well within that, we have the last couple, which would be Brian and Brett. I'm not gonna lie to you, cuz am I the only one that like fast forwards through their thing? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, as soon as they start talking, I just want to fast forward it. I'll be honest with you. I literally just fast forward. I don't know. With them, I'm bored, bruv. Like, I'm bored, bruv. Whenever I watch them, like, and even last season, at least it wasn't every couple that was firing, but I could watch every couple. And it was 2 hours long. But this one is only an hour and a half, and I'm struggling to get through Brett and Ryan segments. They're so boring. I'm not saying give me drama, but give me something. God damn. Sorry, Lord. Give us something. You mean there was no instant conversations? There was no, like, some little something. Like, nothing was going on with Brett and Ryan right now. But what I would say is I saw a much more lighter side to is it Ryan or Brian? Whatever is it Ryan or Brian? I forgot his name. Much more lighter side. So I'm happy for him. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not gonna get at him too much. But guys, before we go anywhere, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification of uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Listen, tonight's the night. If you want to have your say, listen, we've got a short time on here. We want to give you guys opportunity to come on these lives, okay, and have your say. Come on these lives and have your say, okay? All right, cool. I've got Reality with T behind here, so she's gonna kick it off with me, and we'll have a conversation. The rest of you guys will join when you're ready. All right? Okay, appreciate it. Do. Yes, Reality T with T. What are you saying, sis?
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me back. I've missed you guys.
It's been a little bit of a while.
Thank you. I have so much to say about everybody, but I'm going to start off with Jose.
Okay.
And I apologize if I repeat what somebody has said in the past couple of weeks, but I am very concerned about him. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go, not all the way concerned yet, but I feel like he has come on this show, like he keeps talking about this checklist, And
Mm,
it seems like he has this perfect picture of what it's supposed to look like, what is going to make him look more masculine, because he's mentioned
mm,
masculinity a few times. And
true.
he just wanted somebody to put into that picture, because it seems like whatever flaws Rachel may have, he's like, oh, I'll fix that. You don't know how to manage your money, I'll fix that for you. Your credit score is bad, I'll fix that. You don't know how to buy the groceries, listen, just put all the money in my account, now I'll buy the groceries. You know what I mean? It's almost like he doesn't want a partnership. It's like, he wants to be in a situation where he can control the person, even though he doesn't think it's that way. It's coming off that way, where he's going to control the person to make the picture really pretty. I almost feel like anybody that they matched him with, he would have been the same way with, overly affectionate, doing all these romantic activities, the whole thing, because it almost feels like it's planned in a way. I'm hoping that he's really into her. I feel like she needs it, but I do not have high hopes for this couple. They also remind me of Eric and Virginia, which we know that didn't fare well in the end. Because she is trying to be uber, like you said, uber independent. He is trying to, have her just kind of fit into the mold of, you just be like the dutiful wife and I'll take care of everything. That's why he's concerning me. I don't need him to recite his resume another 8 times this show. We know that you got your master's degree and you did all this. I want him now to focus on creating a partnership with her. And I feel like that's where they're having a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, I'm definitely hearing that. Definitely hearing that. I think with Yosef, specifically on this episode, I definitely heard, like you're rightly what you said. He definitely said once or twice, in fact twice, I believe him saying about being, well, he said one, being a man, being the head of the home. Then I think he said twice about masculinity. So yeah, he mentioned that in terms of his provision, and him providing, as well. Which on a normal day I don't really mind. I think that's great. You know, we want to see men who are paying the bills. Like, but
Yes, we
it does
do.
seem. I know the Americans love this. I'm not gonna lie to you. The UK is a bit different, but yeah, no, definitely. Definitely, you're right. I mean, I think. It's odd. You should normally feel comfortable that a man says, "I want to pay the bills. I want to be able to do this, da, da, da," but you're hearing something very controlling, because it's not just the bills he wants to do. He wants to brush her teeth. He wants to control the finances, and it's the tone of the way he says it, not just what he's saying. It's the tone of the way he says it, and I think there's some control in there because he wants a perfect resume, right? As soon as he heard her say that she came to him and opened up really honestly and said, listen, hey, I got a problem with spending. He was like, yeah, red flag. I got to make sure that I'm going to take control of it. I was like, it's the way you go
Mhm.
about it, bro. It's not that he's wrong for it, but it's the way you go about it. It seems like you're about to elicit control. I don't know. What was your thoughts again, LTT?
I agree. And it also feels to me that his masculinity has been challenged in the past, which is why he is trying to go
Good
over and
point.
beyond. Because for him to say, it was something he said in a previous episode where he said, if my wife wants to, basically, if she comes on to him, I can't turn her down because that wouldn't be masculine.
Mm,
That was such a loaded thing to say, because number one, who taught you that? You know what I mean? I'm worried about, so if you felt uncomfortable or you weren't into a woman, you wouldn't feel comfortable turning them down because of somebody else's view of masculinity. You know what I mean? It's almost like he has to prove himself to somebody or people who have challenged him in the past. So let me do everything I can to make this look perfect. It kind of reminded me, I don't know if you saw what is that show they had, Wife Swap, a few years ago with
mm.
Cisco from Drew Hill. And I talked about this on my YouTube channel, but basically he would dress his wife every day. They had to wear matching clothes. The house was immaculate. Like, he was completely in control of everything. But it's also, and people have challenged Cisco's masculinity as well. But it's also like it's like I have to go over and beyond to prove that I am in this relationship with a woman. I'm a man. You know what I mean? And it gets to be too much. And some women, I guess, like to be controlled. I like that she's not just going to acquiesce to it so quickly. You know what I mean? I like that she is putting up a little bit of a fight. But again, this is like day 2. You know what I mean? We're looking at it from the outside. And if somebody just came up to me and I'm doing my thing, and then you're saying, oh, you have to put all of your money in an account and I'll manage it, I'll be like, hold up, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So I think both of them need to work on creating that partnership.
I hear that 100%. I definitely hear that. I think as well with Jose, sorry. I think with him as well. With I think there's obviously, uh, yeah. I mean, it was always going to be a problem with him because I think, like you were saying, we've seen it from the very beginning. This guy wants a perfect marriage, which does not exist. Perfect looking example, and I think I love the example you gave about Cisco, trying to dress his wife up because that's what I saw with the brushing of the teeth, right? And it will get there because it gets there very subtly, where it starts off saying, "Oh, we're going to my work function. I would love for you to wear this particular red dress." Now, on a normal day, I think a suggestion from your husband is not a problem, right? But it's where it's going with him. It's like, oh, when we get to the board, I would love for you to wear this red dress and actually wear this particular diamond necklace as well. And while you're there, those shoes, just change them. I think this will look better on you, right? It starts off really innocent but quickly descends into complete control of the person who you're with, making them into a robot making them into a personal robot. And I think Rachel, having experienced a very controlling dynamic, is putting on extra juice on trying to make sure that she has a say in this marriage. I mean, my girl's out here fighting for paying 50-50. Like, sis, you didn't want to say 70-30. She was like, I need to pay 50-50. Like, that kind of fight lets you also know as well that, what she doesn't want to go into is a place where she's going to be controlled too. So I think it's a bit of both that are they're vibing off each other in that respect, in terms of moving forward and how it works. But yeah, so I'm hearing what you're saying. Let me get light in and talk about this, and I'll bring you back in reality with T. Like, what's your thought? We're talking about Jose right now, and Rachel's situation. Talking about the fact that there could be early warning signs of control. I don't want to call him a controller, but I want to say there's early warning signs potentially that could be looking like control.
Hi, Coach Joe. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
I do see those warning signs, but I think that if she does not give in to them, then they can actually work that out. Because I think what I see is the clash of an old traditional Latin view of masculinity and the man's role in a marriage, and an independent woman of today who has experience with having her freedom and her voice taken away from her or diminished in some way. So I think it's more of a clash of ideas, because both of them, I think more so him, he's coming at the marriage with his perspective sort of on paper, his list of expectations. And she seems to be coming at the marriage with her perspective from real life situation, with someone that might not have been, he might have been a lot worse than Jose, and she's thinking, I am not about to go there. I think that's where the clash is. I think he is trying a little too hard to fill the role that he thinks he has to fill. And once they, really get into real life, I think that he might soften a little bit. But I do see that if, she was to allow this and be the type of person that says, sure, go ahead, take all my money and put it in your bank account, he could become controlling, because then the whole matter is, I'm trying to, in his mind, he could be thinking, I'm trying to make sure that we spend properly and we save properly. And so that's why I'm only, giving you, and I was going to use the word allowing, but I'm just, giving you this certain amount of money to spend, because the rest of it we're going to, allocate in a different way. But if it's her income, it really should be her choice as to how much is included in that, in that plan of how we're going to, plan out our financial future. But I don't necessarily see him as beginning off as controlling. I think he's trying way too hard. I think he overcompensates for certain things. He's expressed insecurities, his height. He thinks he's not an attractive person, so he overcompensates with the fact that he is successful. I think, he's very proud of being successful, because it seems, and I don't know how much he's talked about his family history, but it seems, to me that he might be just really proud that he's the first one to be as successful as he is. He's bought 2 homes, and I'm guessing, I don't know that he said this, that he probably bought one for his parents, and he's proud of all of that. So, when people are coming into that type of that type of accomplishment, they, there's a little bit of humility that comes out the door with that, because you want to let people know that I did this. It's not like I've accomplished something and I'm proud of it and I can keep it to myself. Some people have that, that personality trait, but he wants everybody to know because because of his insecurities. And I think that is all wrapped up. Oh gosh, we're going to the next person because somebody just came to my door. Sorry.
No worries, it's always a pleasure. No worries. Reality T, you want to? Yes, always do you want to jump back in again, Reality T?
Yeah, I agree. And now that she brings it up, I think about when he said, is she attracted to me? There were insecurities. And when they first got together, I was thinking these are two insecure people that they put together, because she talked a lot about being overweight and losing her weight. He talked a lot about he was very worried about her being attracted to him. And it was all very surface level. It's all about the way that they look and, how they're presenting themselves to the other. So that's another reason why I'm like, I don't know about this couple, because nobody in this situation is really confident, and they kind of both need to just kind of feed each other's egos in different ways. And how are they going to know? I mean, and the experts really sit out for a long time to me in the beginning. I feel like they used to come in on the honeymoon, or at least you can video them in or something like that. I think these are some of the things that they could kind of work on earlier in the relationship, because to me, I feel like this is going to be a blow up when I think about this relationship.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. Again, I also want to give Jose a little bit of praise too, because he is very attentive, and Rachel too. But he's very attentive. He wants to make life easy for Rachel. He's done the hard work, if you want to call it that. As a man, he's brought himself to a place where he's financially stable. He's got himself in a place where he can fully provide a lifestyle for his wife without her having to suffer, which is what's really interesting, right? Because when he mentioned about her spending and her money, this is what I said about I felt like we're going down the roads of control. All right. And listen, I'm all about savings. I'm all about making sure finances are on point, right? But why would you, if you already can provide a lifestyle that she needs, right? You're coming into a lifestyle. Hold on, if you can already provide a lifestyle that she really needs, right, and a lifestyle that she doesn't have to pay for anything, so why are we stressed about her money? Why are we stressed about what she's paying for? Why are we stressed about where she spends her money? If she's reckless with her money, who cares? This is the reason why you wanted to provide the whole entire lifestyle, is so she can flourish and live nicely, basically, right? I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm only saying that I do believe that there are aspects of his perfection that are going to lead towards control. And not that I don't think, it's not like he's a bad guy. He's done all the hard work. We love this type of guy. He's done all the hard work. He is the guy that, women keep talking about, making sure you got your stuff together before you come into a relationship. Make sure you got your home, make sure you got your cars, got your money, you got your investments, all of that stuff ready, right? So here's the thing. If someone's bad with money, but I've got everything completely sorted so that when you come into it, you don't have to pay for a single thing, I am not going to stress that you're bad at having money management. Now, what I'm going to say is, what I will be doing is I will say, listen, hey, babe, look, let's work on that. Let's work on that. I'm not going to feel stressed because money's not an issue. That's the reason why he did this whole thing. So for me, my head is telling my head, and what I'm perceiving is telling me the money isn't the issue. It's the power and it's the control. It's the ability not to be able to control the dynamics of what's going to happen. It's the ability not to be able to predict the future and have a say so in what happens with that person, right? So I'm not saying that Jose is a bad guy. I think he's actually a really good guy. I just think he has insecurities, and we're hoping those insecurities don't then spill over and become a method of control. Now, Rachel's really fighting, and I mean fighting really, really hard to try and make sure that this doesn't become methods of control. So you saw her immediately set up boundaries. All right. So immediately, as soon as they got to the bed, she said to him very, very clear, and I actually really appreciated this. She said straight away, "Hey, look, the brush the teeth thing really kind of got to me a little bit, because what happened was, you made me feel like a kid, right? And I love that she set the boundary immediately up. Amazing, because now he knows that kind of behavior is not to be accepted. It's not going to be tolerated. That's not how I roll. And so I appreciate that. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, back onto Jose. I don't think he's a bad guy. I actually think he's got some great qualities. And if the insecurity can be kept at bay, or more or less healed or worked through, then fantastic. We go forward and we're going to be amazing. But if we don't, we are going to see control, and we're going to see a fight between himself and Rachel. She's not going to have it. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? So that's what I would say. But like what you were going to say, sorry, you got kicked off.
Yeah. I actually agree with what you were saying about, him having prepared for the long time. That was, one of my thoughts, is that he has prepared for so long. And he had this vision of what his marriage was going to be like, that it's going to take some time for him to realize that this is, that things don't work out according to your plan of fantasy. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but that, what it is that you dreamed was going to happen, you have to be a little bit, you have to compromise when you come into the situation. Everything is not going to be exactly the way that you plan. And he's going to have to come to the point to realize that the other person had a plan too. They had a fantasy of what their marriage was going to look like. And so if you want to make her happy, that's something that you have to take into consideration for your own plan. The way I make her happy is to try to build the marriage that maybe she wanted. And if I'm going to relate to someone, I'm going to relate to Rachel, because I'm that type. I don't really like people, taking care of me in that way. Financially, I can handle things on my own. I'm not really, stringent to the point where, okay, if you want to, be the one to buy dinner, and if you want to buy me, gifts, that's cool. But for the most part, I'm going to maintain my independence in the situation. Now, I've never been married, so I can't really speak to what I would do if I was, to get into a marriage, and how I would adjust. But I think that I would be the same, to say, okay, we're going to come at it 50-50 percentage wise, but, then, I'm going to have some control over what's happening with, my own finances, and, together we can make compromises about that. But I think it, really comes down to them just having to create for each other the type of relationship that each other wants, while trying to maintain the relationship that they want, especially on Jose's part. But, Rachel also, think that there's going to come a point where she's going to say, you know what, there's certain things that he's going to need as my husband, and I'm just going to let him think that he's in charge of something, and, maintain my own independence. That's an old woman's married kind of, I've had, people say that. You hear that all the time with women that have been married all the time. Just let him think he's in charge. I think they're just going to have to, just ease into it a little bit, and ease up on their plans, and put the checklist away, and kind of roll with the flow. Though I do also understand Jose's perspective of, you have to keep things, sort of going. You have to have a structure in place and a foundation before you can become flexible. Because if you don't have a structure or a foundation, everything can go haywire. But if you have a structure in place, you can be spontaneous, and you can be, a little, flexible, but you'll always have the foundation to come back to. You'll also always have a center point. He just has to realize that he can actually let up a little bit. And if he wants her to be happy, he has to create the marriage that is going to allow her to be happy, and not just, say this is the way it should be done because I was raised this way, or, masculinity, dictates it to be this way.
Yeah, I'm hearing you on that. I think obviously just to give the flip side as well. Rachel's gonna have to learn how to flex a little bit as well, and bend a little bit, because at the moment she's also putting up very stiff walls when it comes to his particular provision, right? So as much as I also want to say, yes, I believe that some of Jose's behavior can look like leading down a certain path. I also want to say that Rachel has put some very stiff walls when it comes to provision. In fact, on one or two occasions, she said, at one point she said, "I'm not your mom. I don't want you to make me feel like I'm your mom." Another point she said, I can't remember what she said. She said something about control, whatever. But she's also got her own fears of going into that situation. She let us know a really big story about her dad letting her know that, always have your stuff because you never know what can happen. I personally don't have a problem with that, right? We're in a day and age of 2021. Let's not pretend stuff don't go down. Let's not pretend marriages don't break up. Let's not pretend that people aren't abusive. And you can never guarantee that. I've always said this as well. As a man, I am not fussed if you have your own personal fund, because if anything happens, I'm never going to abuse a chick. But you never know, right? You never know. I'm never going to do it, but you never know who I am. Do you know what I mean? From your perspective, do you know what I mean? So I believe that every woman should have their own, and I've said this before, like I said to a friend, I was like, I think every woman should have their own personal fund, because if anything goes down in a particular way, you need to be able to handle yours. You need to be able to have yours. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? I don't believe I'm ever going to be that way where I'm going to turn mad, but you just never know. You never know what's in somebody. So, I totally understand her wanting to have some level of independence within that, right? So I thought it was a good, I think it was a very, well, maybe from my perspective, it was a very easy compromise that should have happened, right? He said, joint account, and then you take from it whenever you wanted. And I was like, okay, I hear that. But I think it's really easy just to say joint account, pay all the bills. Everybody have their separate accounts. You know what I mean? Like, you have your joint accounts that pays every single bill in that joint account, and then potentially have your account. And you can still have a budget with that and say, hey, how much do we need for disposable income? We want to save. You can still have a budget for that. But she should still be able to have her own separate kind of finances, if you want to call it that, so that if something does ever happen, she can handle hers, and maybe it will never happen, and she can use that money later on for something else that you guys love. But it's just so that you guys have a level of autonomy in a generation where divorces happen so much, and when they happen, it is not a pretty fight. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I definitely think Rachel is going to make it difficult for him to love on her, because obviously it seems like he loves to be able to provide. That gives him a sense of masculinity. It gives him a sense of confidence. And if he's not able to do that with her, he might struggle a little bit. I think someone said it in the chat before, men do need to be needed. So I definitely hear that as well. Linda, you're welcome to the conversation. We are talking about Jose and Rachel as well. I want to see what your points were, what your thoughts were.
Oh yeah, hi everyone. I don't know if anyone has mentioned this already. I'm just kind of jumping in, but I remember the Jose from the matchmaking special, and this is a different Jose. I remember him saying he didn't like women who would come in the picture and think that they didn't have to pull their weight, and he seemed like he was the kind. I mean, he made a few comments, pertaining to women, and insinuating that, he basically wanted his woman to be able to pull her weight. He wanted a woman who didn't just come into the picture thinking that things are going to be handed to her. And looky how things have turned. And he is now this man that just wants to be her everything, her provider, her everything. And so I just found that very interesting, that everything that he was mentioning in the matchmaking special completely turned around as soon as he met Rachel. And I will say this, and this, I always say this, men will, that provider switch will turn on for a man when he actually values you. And that's why I say, if a man really values you, he would naturally want to protect you. He'll naturally want to provide for you. Because honestly, I think if he was a different, if Rachel was a different woman, maybe he wasn't as attracted to her or didn't get along with her so well, I think he would have kept the same tune. But my, when he met Rachel, all of a sudden it's like, I want to be everything. I'm going to jump out of a plane for you. I would do this. I would do that. Everything but catch a bullet, basically. So, I'm just saying, like, men know how to, men will treat you according to how much they value you. And obviously, like, he really values Rachel. And so I hope that she is able to let go of the reins that she's holding on so tightly to, because he is a completely he I think would be a good match for her if she allows him to take some of those reins. And sometimes women get caught into this whole independent woman, I can do battle by myself trope. And like you said, it is a good thing for women to have their own, but at the same time, like, once again, it's like the masculine and the feminine. There is a natural balance, and there needs to be that balance. And you cannot be fighting, like, you can't have two people just fighting for that control, because it's going to lead to conflict. And I wish that her father hadn't just told her that one side of making sure that you have your own. I wish that he had balanced that perspective out with what it means to be a man, and what men want, and what they desire, and balance out what he was telling her as far as like making sure that she was able to take care of herself, with, hey, also a good man will treat you well, a good man will want to take care of you, but you have to learn how to find that good man, because that's the thing, because there is that fear, part of like wanting to make sure that you have your own, and the super high strung independence is a fear, of that other person not being who they said they are, or, not really trusting that other person, essentially. And, that's where the discernment comes in, and you need to be able to, discern as a woman, and be able to evaluate, your partner's intentions, or whoever it is that you intended to marry. And granted, the fact that she's marrying a stranger, it takes a lot of that vetting process. Is her own vetting has been taken away, so she's kind of having to start behind the 8 ball, because they're already married. But at the end of the day, I really wish that her father would have also told her what a good man looks like as well, because I think he just kind of leans heavily on what these trifling men might do, but also like teach your daughter what a good man is, so that she can recognize a good man,
Good points, Linda. I'm definitely hearing you on that. Yeah, Jose definitely switched up. You know what? When you mentioned it, it made me think. You're definitely right. He definitely switched up, because he was jumping from ceiling to the floor about a woman that doesn't know how to pay for a ting and all this stuff and rah rah rah. So yeah, you're definitely right. We definitely saw a different Jose when he met his wife. I don't know if it's because the beauty sent him into the sunken place, and he realized, he just wants to pay for her and everything. But I think more importantly, I think what's happened here, maybe this is me theorizing, guys. Okay, this is not the truth. This is me theorizing. Okay, maybe it's a bit dark, but it's me theorizing. I think Rachel coming in, not willing to submit, and being intentful on paying 50-50 made him switch. I know it's going to sound weird, but it's almost like it forced him in the other direction, because she was so intentful of not allowing him to provide for him. It almost made him want to do it. Sometimes us men, like, it's really weird. Like, when someone doesn't want it, you want it. Do you know what I mean? When someone doesn't want to be caught, now you want to chase. It's I don't know. Maybe I don't know if that necessarily that is him per se. It may not be the situation. I'm just kind of throwing a theory out there. This is not necessarily the truth. This is me throwing a theory out there as well, to maybe potentially that could have happened to him. Do you know what I mean? I think he will revert back to his normal type eventually when the honeymoon phase gone. But yeah, like, you were gonna say something, and then reality will get you back in.
Yeah, I think that, Linda makes a good point, but it seems to me that they both started out coming from a negative expectation of who the other partner might be. And now that they're in it, they're actually seeing it for the reality. And from Jose's point, he's seeing it to be more positive than he expected. He probably expected somebody that was going to want to live off of him. And he's saying, no, I'm not going to be your sugar daddy. And now he's independent, and he's saying, okay, well, I can take care of you because you're somebody who's not expecting that of me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I totally agree, with Rachel being careful, because as you said, you don't know who this person actually is. You really need control, especially too early in the relationship, and they can switch. And I don't remember who it was that mentioned it. I think somebody mentioned it in the chat or something. Another last week is that, you know, there's that movie Sleeping with the Enemy from years ago, a couple of decades ago, with Jennifer Lopez, where the husband was this, you know, picture perfect prince kind of guy. And the minute he, you know, got her alone and got her in the place that he wanted, everything was decided by, you know, by him. Then he became abusive and controlling. And that is not an uncommon situation at all. You know, we see that with, you know, a lot of men that, you know, are controlling. They come in, you know, I always say bad guys know what good guy costumes to wear. They come in knowing exactly how to reel a woman in, and they, you know, they switch up. But, you know, I've had that experience too with somebody so quickly in the relationship wanting to do things that were unreasonable. And then when I said no, the real thing came out. Somebody one time, you know, I was really, really young in my dating life. I think it was like 19 or something. And I just moved into a place, and, you know, I said, okay, you know, one of the things I got to do is get a bed because where I came from, I didn't bring, you know, I was in somebody else's place. And I came, and he says, oh, I can, you know, I said, I'm going to buy this mattress, and then I'm going to work to get this bed frame. And he says, I'll buy you the mattress. Well, I've been on the date with this guy like twice. You're not buying me a mattress, that, you know, because what do you expect after that? You expect that I'm going to be, you know, like beholden to you, or what do you expect from me? And I said, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But no, I'm going to work it out. It's not going to take that long. And, you know, and he was insistent to the point of being upset with the fact that I would not allow him to do that for me, to the point where he was so incessant. I was like, you know what? This relationship is done. Thank you very much. And what happened is he wound up dating my friend. And what happened was, he was exactly who I expected him to be. When he, you know, began to treat me that way, they were in a longer relationship because she was that type to say, sure, take care of me, you know, buy me whatever you want. And then she had a hard time getting out of that situation. So I dodged the bullet, and that is what I see about Rachel. She was in a situation where she was controlled, and now she's saying, you know, this is way too soon. We're going to see what happens in the future, but right now you need to back up off me. So I totally get it. But I don't think he's a bad guy either. I think he just needs to, you know, take his head out of that checklist book that he's got.
Appreciate that, Light. Thank you. Reality T, jump in for me again.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Light. I'm kind of the same way. It kind of feels, it does feel controlling when somebody comes in way too soon, saying that they want to give too much, because then you start to think, well, then they're going to hold it over my head. Well, I gave you this, I need you to do that. You know what I mean? So some of us who are like kind of uber independent or whatever, it kind of makes us feel like, no, I have my own. So as long as I keep my own, nobody's ever going to control me. So I agree with you. And I'm not going to repeat everything you said, but I definitely agree with everything you said. But am I the only person who I just find some of this ingenuine. I find Jose's, the fact that he spent so long, that he said that he was planning for years for a wife. So his goal was to get his degrees, buy the houses, get rid of all the debt, blah, 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 all for a wife. And it's almost kind of makes me uncomfortable that was the ultimate goal. Instead of saying like, I'm trying to make sure that I'm stable before I begin a family, it's almost like I was creating this perfect situation to get a wife. The same thing with Zack, you know, his obsession almost with getting married so young makes me uncomfortable. With Ryan, his obsession, he asked twice, I mean, are you going to have kids? That's a deal breaker for me. You know, I want 2 kids. And it's almost like after she said she wanted kids, then he started like, that's when we started to see him smile a little bit. That's when he kind of lightened up. You know what I mean? I'm just feeling a little bit of ingenuineness from the guys here, where it just feels like you have a plan in mind and you just wanted somebody to stick into their perfect picture.
I need to speak to this.
Go ahead.
Can I speak to this?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I am completely on the opposite spectrum, because men like Jose is what we call men. That's what we call a real man. I'm sorry. There's something off when we find a man who plans for his family, a man who plans for a family, plans to provide for his woman, plans to be that security for his woman, as disingenuous. I find that very concerning and weird. I'm sorry. That is part of the psychology that is happening nowadays, that's leading to these relationships that are bombing and failing, because we are not recognizing that this is what a man does. This is what he does. He protects and he provides for his family. He plans for the future. He sees ahead. He sees ahead. He's looking ahead and thinking about the family that he doesn't even have yet. That's what I call a man. I'm sorry. And we need to start recognizing these men. And you know what else? Bobby was the same way. Bobby and his wife, I forget what her name is, the one with the eyebrows. I hate to reduce her to that, but I forget her name. He planned for his family. Danielle, yes. Planned for his family. They're doing well. They have a beautiful family with 2 kids now. Like, we need to start recognizing these good men. Thinking of this man that is planning, that saying he doesn't even have a woman yet, and he's planning to make her life easier before she even gets into the picture. And we find that disingenuous. I cannot just let that message go and not counter it, because that is a signal of a good man. And a lot of these women are not recognizing that. And if you're fearing a man that is planning, there's something about that you need to reconsider, because a man who plans is a man who's going to be prepared. A man who plans is a man who is going to always have what you need before you even know that you need it, because that's how far ahead he's thinking. That's a good man for me. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. That's just a good man.
Okay. Can I respond really quickly? Oh,
yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Thank you. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with planning. I'm finding them to be ingenuous, because he comes with a checklist. He comes with trying to make her just fit into the perfect picture that he has. I said before you came that to me, it feels like he would have been the same way with almost anybody they gave him. Any imperfection she has, he says, okay, I'm gonna fix it for you. I'm gonna fix it. That's the problem that I have. Not that you're planning for a family in the future, but the fact that it's like, listen, he keeps giving us his resume. I have 3 houses. I got 3 degrees. I got this all for this wife. You know what I mean? And this is how it needs to go. I think that he is stuck on, we've been saying, the fantasy. You know what I mean? And nobody is going to fit in perfectly into his picture. Nobody is going to fit, is going to have the same ideals that you want. They're not going to have the same background, traditions, everything else. And he almost seems like he doesn't want to bend outside of what he thought it would be. It's great to plan for your future. That's what I do. I'm a squirrel. You know what I mean? I plan. I keep all my money, the whole thing. You know what I mean? But I have to realize that when I meet somebody, they're going to come with a different plan. They might not fit perfectly into the dream or the fantasy that I had. And I don't feel that he is able to do that yet. And that's where they're going to have an issue.
Well, my perspective of that is that I actually agree with Linda, because I think about it this way. He's 35? He's been planning for, to have a marriage that he's dreamed of for 15, 17, maybe 20 years. Every step of the way, he's been, toiling and struggling and working hard. And then he's in this situation for 3 days. And he is going to have to bend. I agree with you. With reality, he's going to have to bend. He's going to have to adjust. He's going to have to compromise. But I'm standing in expectation. I'm giving him, the grace to say after 18 years is not going to change in three days. I think that having the way people look at it is that what women are looking for in a marriage is a little bit of stability, someone that can, that they can count on. Someone that plans the way that Jose does is the person that is presenting himself as someone that can be counted on. You can count on me. I've got your back. Whatever it is that you want to do with your life, I've got your foundation. You go out and do what you want to do. That's who he seems to me to want to be. It's just that he has been looking at the checklist for so long that he hasn't allowed for the fact that the person coming in wasn't going to fit exactly into what he had in his mind. She's not reading the script that he is laying out, and he has to sort of come off the script and say, okay, well, I got to see something different. But I just have to remember it's 3 days or 5 days or however many days they're there. It's been like less than a week. After 18, 20 years, he just needs a little bit of time to, to just soften up a little bit on that checklist.
I 100% agree, Light. He's not bendable. I mean, he's not bendable, because I have not seen any indication from him just yet that he's not unbendable. I think that his intention, he means well, and we'll see how they work it out. I think he means well, and we'll see how it plays out. But that's what I'm getting. I'm not getting that this is hard and fast. I'm getting the anxiousness of the process. And, everyone's feeling that anxiety, like, who am I going to get? I have all these things that I would love in a person, blah, 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 but ultimately, whoever he does get is not going to be this cookie cutter person. Of course not. And he's a smart man. He's not, an idiot. He's smart enough to understand that this person is not going to be cookie cutter, because to me, if he was hard and fast to his rules, as soon as she mentioned the credit card debacle with the trip and just getting a random credit card and that kind of nonsense, like in his confessional, he would have been like, this isn't going to work. But instead, he was like, okay, how can I help? Like he's looking to how can we work this out? So I have not, as of yet, seen any indicator of what he's expressed to Rachel that he's not willing to work with her on especially on her finances. And she already acknowledges that she needs help on that. So, but yeah, I just wasn't okay with that rhetoric being out there that was disingenuous. But yeah.
I hear that. I think both of you are kind of on the same similar wavelength, but I get that the language that was kind of switched because I get it both. I get both sides what you guys are saying. So you both have very good, valid points, and I think there is nothing wrong. In fact, no, it's not. There's nothing wrong. Men should be doing what Jose is doing, right? We want, in a perfect ideal, what we want to see is men having their stuff and their ish together, so that when women comes into it, it's a much more seamless, easy integration in moving forward. We want to see more of that as generations go on, right? We want to see more financially free men, and specifically we're talking about Black people here, so financially free Black men as we move forward. We want to see more of that. So that is something we will never be as a negative. We don't want to say someone said no to struggle love. Absolutely. And the same thing again, which Linda, you picked up on as well. We also don't want to see uber independent women also, because that kills the whole dynamics of provision and receptance, right? And receiving. So that kind of kills that whole vibe when you're super uber independent. You kind of remove the need for the man, and then that creates a little bit of tension and particular kind of gelling of the relationships going forward as well. What I would say also, is that I think it's not him having his ish together is not a problem. But I think what Reality TV picked up on, which is what I picked up on, was the very first day, and he said it the second episode too, and I think he said the third episode, was that when he started talking about, I've provided the house, he started listing it, and I was like, okay, thank you for the first time. Second time, he's like, I've done the I said, bro, okay, we got you now. And the third time he did it, he said, I said, bro, okay, so what are you trying to say? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, what's your objective? You letting the person know this, right? And this is my fear here. I think it was episode 2 or 3. He mentioned, when he was talking about women, and I put this in my review, I said, the tone of the way he said, the women that I've met, they don't pay their way, etc., etc. I said, you see, and I'll put it straight, this is my personal opinion. The same rhetoric and energy that he had was the same way red pills talk about women. It's the same tone. And I mentioned it in my thing. I said in my review, I said, it's not you talking about you having things. It's the way you spoke about how women have done this. And I said, why did you generalize women as doing it? I said, immediately, we're going to have a problem. Then we fast forward to this episode. And again, he did it by saying, he said it the last episode where he's talking about his masculinity. If I don't see it as my masculinity. And I said, Then this episode 2, now he's talking about, obviously, as a man, I got a leader. And it's like, he's almost forcing this narrative of being man, masculinity, leading. It's like, if this is you don't have to mention all of this. And you know what I mean? Like, if this is what you are, this is your ethos, this is your movement, you don't have to mention that. You know what I mean? If you guys come to my live and every time I mention my live, guys, I'm a great listener, you're going to be looking at me like, bro, why don't you just do the job? Why do you have to mention that you're a great listener? When someone has to keep focusing on a point to let you know that's what they are, they're probably not that. or there's an insecurity in that area, so they're trying to prop it up. That was my only kind of thing. So my thing is that I've noticed that you keep mentioning this thing, sir. Like, why do you keep mentioning it? So there's nothing wrong with him planning. I think he should continue planning. I think he should continue. Any man out there should continue planning and make sure they got a structure for people who they're going to go into a marriage with. I'm just cautious of the fact that you keep mentioning your masculinity. You keep mentioning things about your masculinity. And when someone does that, especially if we're talking about men mentioning their masculinity all the time, guess what's going to happen? He's going to try and prove his masculinity. How far are you willing to go to prove his masculinity? That's my only kind of thing. What are we going to do? What are we going to do to prove I'm masculine? I'm a man. What are we going to do? Am I going to tell you to shut up now because I'm a man? I'm a leader? That's my only kind of thing. So I'm not saying that that's where he's definitely going. I'm just saying that there's a little bit of something that we should be cautious of. This is not him, definitely, but we're being cautious of that, and being aware of that. So yeah, that's what I would say. Let me get someone's last points on this particular part of it. Someone said machismo. Is that what it's called? Okay, it's called machismo. Good education. Yeah, like, open your mic.
That's a perfect segue to what I was going to say. Machismo is the tradition of masculinity in the Latin culture. I think that he has that at the forefront of his mind, machismo, but it also is combined with the insecurity of lack of expectation and people underestimating him and not believing that he would be able to live up to that idea of masculinity. I think that is the balance within him that he needs to work on for himself.
Love that point. Okay. Linda, you want to add one last point?
No, I think I said all of it.
Okay. Relative T?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said pretty much everything that needs to be said, but I mean, I agree. I feel like the masculinity and the control, I think that's going to come to a head, because in the previews from what we see for next week, things are going to start, like you said in the beginning, we're kind of missing the drama. I think that it's coming, and I think it's coming with these two. I think that this is going to cause the same type of issues that we saw with Eric and Virginia in the past. And I think it'll be interesting, but I'm going to stick with what I said. I still find some of it ingenuous, and maybe for the reasons that you were able to explain better than I was. Thank you.
No, that's right. That's right. You both Linda and Reality were making good points on both sides.
Oh,
so
can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
Sorry, Reality. It was nothing like towards you.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
I appreciate that, Linda, offering that. In fact, before you lot go, let me get you 2 minutes each in it, because obviously the Mila and the Gil situation was mad. So let me get 2 minutes of each person, and then I'll get the super panelists on. So Reality, let me let you go first.
Yes, I can't wait, because I just got to Florida and I'm in a hotel in Florida, and let me tell you something, I'm not getting any frothed almond milk in my hotel room, okay? I think and I'm okay with that. I got here and I'm like, okay, let me just adjust, and we have the beach, you know what I mean? I think that she is the worst type of traveler. She's the worst type of person that you want to be with. I feel so bad for Gil, because I love that he is so positive. He's always trying to put a positive spin on everything. It's almost like she looks for things to complain about. And it's interesting that she would do this so early in the relationship. Like, I would even think if I were that way and she knows it about herself, she should know by now that scares people off. You know what I mean? There's nothing about her that gives, I adjust well to change. I'm able to just try. Even when he put together, the really nice romantic date, she's complaining in the airplane. Granted, she got sick, but it's almost like he's going to get to the point where he's not going to want to do anything for her, because he keeps trying and keeps getting shot down. They're making it jokey right now. I think he still likes her. He's trying to see the best in her, but it's going to get under his skin really soon, and I don't think he's going to be able to take it.
Appreciate that. Good point, especially with almond milk. I'm telling you. Light. Let me get your 2 minutes of Mila and Gil quick.
2 minutes. I'll say that there were some parts of her that I related to, and not in the most negative ways, and I think that I can explain, some sort of her motivation. So, although I'm completely Team Gil, I understand her. I sort of, have a bit of a backup for her in that area. But I'm totally Team Gil. Although, I wasn't that crazy about the way that he sought some advice and support from the group. I think that it came off really kind of, it wasn't. I don't think it was his best moment. I think if he had, spoken to, the guys on their own and said, "Look, this is happening," or, I think I understand what he was doing and trying to gauge how the process is working for everybody else and confirming for himself that the process is really out of step for him and his wife. I just kind of didn't like that. But for the most part, that's like 2% of what I think about Gil, and everything else is complete positivity. I love him. I think he's trying very hard. I think that, there's ways to be able to, communicate to her a little bit better, a little bit more effectively about how she's affecting him. And now we also see how it's affecting the whole process, because the conversation that he had at the pool with them was, really all about her. But, I think it comes down to the experts should not have paired these two people together. And I won't go into a lot of, I think a lot of people feel that way, so I won't go into a lot of why that is. But this was a horrible pairing that really shouldn't have happened for either one of them, but especially for Gil.
I'm hearing that. Good points. Good points. Thank you, Light. Linda. If you can get your 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to survive this season with Marilla. Like, it was just, I don't know. Oh my God, I can't even. Like, I felt like I needed a few aspirin just like after that episode, because it was just too much. It was too much with her personality, and that's why I say, like, I think, like, the financial requirements aside, I think her attitude is like that's a character defect. Because how do you do this? How do you behave like this? She's 34, 35, something like that. You're a fully grown woman. Like, what are you doing? Where do you get off thinking this behavior is acceptable? I think that they have a lot of, banter, jokey, taking shots at each other, like she said. But, like, I think that is a cover for, like, getting to the deeper conversations and, like, get into the elephant in the room, which is that we're not going to get along. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes people do that playful banter, but, like, it's really more hate, and you're kind of just, like, waiting for someone to, like, just finally acknowledge, yeah, we really don't work, because like, you're kind of like joking, yeah, no, like, until someone just gets serious and they're just like, no, for real though, like, this is not working. And I think that person is going to be Gil that gets pushed to that point, because she will be happy to stick to her bratty, behavior. I think it's cute. Like, and I also don't know. I have a small theory that, like, maybe she's goading him into asserting his dominance, like, in their relationship. Because even when he told her, turn off the light, like, just shut up. Like, she laughed at it. She laughed at it like she was kind of tickled that she was kind of annoying him that much, that, like, he just wanted her to, like, it's kind of like she knows that, I know I'm a pain, ha ha ha, but it's like, no, but you're a pain, and not in a good way. Because, some people, they say, oh, she's a pain, but it's really, like, all love, like, they really love you, but it's like, you're that kind of pain that's, like, not in that good way. Like, you're that kind of pain in the butt that's, like, you're really a pain in the butt. Like, we want you to go away. Like, we want to, like, rub you out because this is too much. And some people are like, they're a pain in the butt, but it's kind of fun and you kind of enjoy their company. She's not enjoyable. You're not enjoyable to be around. I don't know how she has friends. I don't understand it. I don't know. Maybe she paid some people to come in and pretend. I don't understand how she has friends. She's too grown for this kind of behavior, and it's not funny anymore. It stops being funny around 16, 17 maybe. You're about 2 decades too much. It's too much. Like, please, you need to reevaluate yourself, because this is not going to be enjoyable. Watching her complain the whole season. I'm pretty sure that's what she's getting ready to do. And I'm just gonna fast forward through those parts. I don't know. I'm still deciding.
Okay. I hear you, Linda. I hear you. Big up, you. Appreciate it. Panelists, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts and your opinions. I know we didn't get through all the couples, but you guys made a very good conversation around Jose and Rachel that will continue on with the super panelists. So I really do appreciate your time and your contributions to that conversation. It's given me some more food for thought with the Jose and Rachel situation. So appreciate that. And thank you for you guys' contributions on Mila and Gil as well. To be honest, I'm already tired of Merla and it's only been 5 episodes, but appreciate you guys' thoughts. Yes, so I'm going to take everybody down and we're going to get the super panelists on to the stage. Guys, do me a favor though, who are in the audience, if you haven't already, please like the video, like it, and like some more. Okay, share it with somebody else and subscribe to this channel because it's what we do every Thursday and every Saturday. We're here with lives on TV shows, Married at First Sight and Put a Ring in It / Ready to Love. All right, cool. Thank you, panelists, very, very much. I appreciate your time as always. Okay.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
No worries, ladies. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Night.
Appreciate it. Night. Oh, you're going to bed, girl? Appreciate
Now I'll
it.
be in the chat.
Okay, cool. No worries, Linda. Appreciate you. All right, cool. Let me. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Sorry, I didn't even do my introductions. I just added you guys. Sorry, my bad.
I see.
My bad, guys. My bad. I didn't even give you guys the introduction. Tomorrow, next time I got you. Saturday, I got you. All right, cool. So
they were complaining anyway, Coach.
Were they complaining? Oh,
the intros are too long.
It's too long. They're gonna get even longer intros. Don't worry about them.
Hey, C-Ray. Hey, Sean.
Yo, what's
up,
good?
everybody?
What's good? It's good.
I'm ready for Sean. I'm ready.
Oh. Okay, you know what? I already know this conversation is gonna get tasty tonight, man. I can tell. Okay, cool. So, yes. So we're talking to you guys now, and so I want to get you guys' thoughts. We've spoken a little bit about Gil Merlo. We spoke a bit about Rachel and Jose. I'll come back to them because we kind of just spoke to them. I want to talk about Bao and Johnny, right? Because last time we spoke, I admit, I said I wasn't comfortable with the amount of touching that was going on, but on this episode, Bao came out the traps. She literally touched his abdomens. Okay, literally touched the side of his stomachs. Okay, all right. She was in these guts. All right, from the outside. So I'm appreciating the change and the movement I saw from her. You know, her head was on a pillow right next to his. It was almost there. You know what I'm saying? All right. So I'm seeing progress. We're in episode 5. So I want to get you guys' thoughts. What's your thoughts on Bao and Johnny? Ray, since your mic is already open, you can go for it since you're defending her.
You know, I agree. You know, last week, Seaway said something and she was like, you know, I think you guys have been a little tough on Bao. And I thought about it this week when I was watching this episode. I was like, you know, I think Seaway may have a point here. You know, she was touchy. She was feeling, you know, feely. Johnny was a little concerned to really express himself. He expressed himself. She was like, yeah, the feeling is mutual. And I was like, oh my God, okay, well, maybe she is opening up. Maybe she's just taking her time. And, you know, we need to give her, you know, her space and her movement, allow her to go at her pace. Until, and maybe you guys will talk about this part, until she says that they should sleep in another bed. That's when everything went downhill for me. Da-na-na-na. I was like, really? I was like, I was with Seaway, and then I was lost just like that. How? It was such a wonderful day, such a wonderful moment. She was so vibey. She was into him. She was feeling it. And then this is what he means when he's talking about hot and cold. I know I'm getting like really feisty here, but it's like, golly, like she just like messed it up to me. And I was like with her until that part. Did anyone else feel that way? Oh.
Okay, Ray. Okay. Coming to the nick of Bao all of a sudden. No, just having a change of heart up in here. Seaway would just be changing people's opinions just like that. All right, Seaway. Okay.
You know what? I really agree. I'm glad that Ray said that she saw the change in Bao. I did see the change in Bao that I thought was going to come. I'm pretty good at reading people. So I kind of had a feeling that she was going to warm up a little bit. And I actually shared the equal disappointment when she said the thing about sleeping in different rooms. I had the same, like, oh, come on now, Bao, come on. So I think she's kind of like battling herself a little bit. She moves a little bit, then she battles a little bit. I also think the thing with the snoring kind of threw her off. I think she was like really embarrassed when he mentioned the snoring situation. She was like super embarrassed. And I think Bao is like a real prideful type person, and she wants to come off a certain way. So to know that she, you know, sounds like whatever he said, a truck or whatever, it was really cute and funny. And I thought his demeanor was so cute too, the way he dealt with it. He was like, "It's okay, I got my headphones, I'm all right." But I think she was like embarrassed by it. So I still think she's moving in the right direction. I just think that she's gonna keep teeter-tottering a little bit until she feels like super comfortable. But I think they're really cute and they have a real natural flow. I actually think this is an appropriate kind of pace for their process. I think they're actually moving at a really good, appropriate pace. She can warm up a little bit, but I like the pace that they're going. I think if they stay this way, they'll actually be moving in the right direction by the time the process is over.
Interesting. Oh, so wait, was it Bao that was complaining about the snoring of Johnny? I thought Johnny was complaining about her snoring. My bad. It's because I had that bootleg version. You know what I mean?
No, he was, but she was embarrassed by it. He was complaining about her snoring.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, cool. Appreciate it. Anyway, locked and loaded. Do you want to jump in there and let us know your thoughts, Bao and Johnny?
Sure. So, similar to Ray. So I know Ray, loves a good fight with me, but we're on the same page, right? In terms of the progress that I see Bao making, with physical touch. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm cautiously optimistic though, because I'm going to always hit you with a little bit of pessimism there. So, I think Bao's a little bit of a complainer and a perfectionist, and sometimes that could just be annoying, right? He brought her the outfit, he consulted Jose to go to the gift shop, and she's like, and it was just like, come on, just smile and say thank you, even if you don't like it. Just you're getting to know each other, and he's trying all these different steps, and I'm sure we'll dive into his romantic picnic moment. That was nice as well. So, I'm cautiously optimistic, but he definitely told her she goes hot and cold. And she was like, really? I don't know if she's self-aware of how she can be perceived, where, especially in a new relationship like this, you need to be open for that attraction to build and for you guys to have that lasting connection. And if you're giving your husband friend vibes, or you're like pushing him away, whether it's physical or just mental or things you're saying or doing, it could be problematic down the line, because you're putting him on an emotional roller coaster type situation. So.
Good point. So go for it, Ray. You want to go for it?
I want to add on to what Sean said, which was excellent. When she said to him, "Oh my God, you still left the tag on there, and you paid full price. That's disappointing. That's cold. That's cold." Because when a man brings you a gift, first of all, that's thoughtfulness. That could be a love language. That is him, showing that he's thinking about you. You know what I mean? And to just talk about, how much he's spending for it, and he should have bought it, not full price, and how it's disappointing. I found that to be very cold. And I'm not sure Johnny will be able to explain to her how she's cold in these moments so she can make the adjustment. I mean, he was having just a hard time expressing his feelings of what he was, experiencing in this relationship with her. So how is he going to navigate this cold energy with her? This is what I want to see. It's going to be interesting.
I think Johnny's going to have to be a little tougher, because every time I think of Bao, I keep flashing back to that obnoxious thing before the wedding, and her freaking out about the jersey. And I remember her mother's face, and her mother was looking like, because I know this, I feel like my mother looks at me this way, like, this girl is crazy as hell, and there is nothing I can do about it. That's the way her mama was looking. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. And so I think Bao is like used to kind of going off the deep end or just saying just kind of like rude stuff and no one checking her because everyone's kind of like, she crazy. We're gonna keep it moving. We ain't gonna worry about it. I think Johnny's gonna have to be that person who'd be like, girl, just kind of like reel her in. She looks like she can be reeled in, but she's gonna need a heavy hand.
Yeah, I hear that.
Johnny's gonna do that, but that's what she needs.
Okay, I hear that. I mean, do you? Obviously, I think she's like you guys have said, she's got a lot of. I think she's got a few insecurities, and I think what she's looking for is the safety element from Johnny. Has Johnny shown capacity to be able to provide that safe zone though? Because I think this is where they're going to struggle. They both need a safe zone. I'm not saying that any couple both needs safe zones, but he really needs a safe zone, and she really needs a safe zone. And I'm wondering if they both have the ability to provide a safe zone for each other when they're both in need of the safe zone. I don't know. What are you saying, Sean? Go for it, lots loaded.
So I definitely I see capacity in Johnny to do that. He has stepped out of his comfort zone because if you heard him when he expressed to her at the picnic, he told her that, I mean, it was a big buildup to say, I like you, but I get it. Maybe he's extra, maybe he's over the top, or, because he's never done something like this before, he struggled with how to have that kind of conversation. But, just him stepping out of his comfort zone and telling her, I like you. I see this going someplace. I'm connecting with you. I think that was a big step. And, I don't want to speak for a woman, but I would think that would be something that would be open the doors for her to feel more comfortable, that he is vulnerable, that he is able to share how he's feeling, and that he does see a future with her, especially in such a a vulnerable space like this when you're getting married at first sight. So I thought that he definitely showed a lot of capacity, and the same for her. I got to be honest, she surprised me because as he was talking to her, she was rubbing his arm and touching him and reassuring him, and then after the big buildup, of course, with Lifetime and production, they stretched it out. She's like, I feel the same way. So I thought that was a great moment of connection for the two of them. It is one of the things that gave me hope, and that they stand a solid chance. I mean, we'll see, because there's always a plot twist. But I think for both of them, they're learning to Ray's point and Seaway's too. He's just going to have to be a little bit more forthcoming with the things that he needs from her, or when she does something that is a little over the top, just say, hey, listen, you know what? That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. I'm sure you didn't mean it, but that hurt my feelings. I spent all day. I was out with Jose trying to find the right thing for you. Why you gotta nudge me about it being on sale? Too soon, right? Just something to kind of snap her out of the moment.
Yes, Ray.
Sometimes I think we as women, and this may not come off as well, but I think we as women sometimes need to just rest in observant mode. If you don't have anything positive to say, sometimes that's good. Do you see what I mean? Because I think it'll allow the man to feel more comfortable. And I know this might be a little controversial for some, but I think sometimes if we as women speak less, I'm not saying we shouldn't speak, I'm not saying, we shouldn't express ourselves, is what I'm saying. But sometimes, just as a human being, I think, if you read The Art of War, it talks about speaking less. Less is more. Don't always say so much. People can use what you say against you. Shh. Be quiet, listen, observe. And it's 3 days in. If I was in this situation, I would be in observant mode. I would say less and watch more. And I think Rachel needs to learn this, and Bao, since we're talking about Bao, and we already talked about Rachel and Jose. Rachel needs to learn this, and Jose and Bao needs to learn this. Don't say much, watch and observe and listen. That's what I think.
Weapons out here. Yes, Seaway, we're going to say something.
I mean, on that note, Gil can say less, and Jose can say less. I mean, there's a lot of people. I agree, though. I agree. You gotta read the room. You gotta read the room, and you gotta know when to listen. Because I'm good at the first couple of weeks. I'm getting to know you. I'm looking, observing, checking you out. But yeah, there's I think on both sides with the Art of War, it's a really good example. There's just times to be paying attention. And the more you pay attention, unless you're just talking, the more you can pick up. And that's what they should be doing. So I agree. I just think it's not just women. And you didn't say it was just women, but I think we see that on both sides, I think.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, I'm definitely hearing your guys on that. I think Bao and Johnny I think they're coming along quite nicely. I'm watching them. Do you know what I mean? I am wondering what's going to win. Whether his patience is going to win, or whether her withholding physicals physicals is going to win, because I know he needs that from her. Do you know what I mean? But they're kissing, though. They are kissing. They've admitted that they are kissing behind the scenes. So he's getting some lip action, but he may need a hold. He may need a spoon. He may need a little something, you know what I'm saying? Just to keep him tied over. You know what I'm saying? He need a little something from Bao. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Bao, just give him a little spoon, man. Something just to make him feel like there's something coming on the woodworks, man. Right now, he's not sure where it's coming from. You know what I mean? He's wondering. He's tapping his mind, thinking when. But no, definitely, I'm hearing what you guys saying. There's some real points in there, especially about the Art of War and just staying silent until and observing in those moments. What are you gonna say, Sean?
So I got a little bit of an unpopular, maybe not unpopular to all, but maybe to some.
Bro, your opinion is always unpopular.
I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna let the physical touch and the intimacy go just yet. Because this is marriage and it's a safe space for that to happen. So I'm gonna push the needle a little bit, right? So. I came up with this thought process, right? So when you think about going on a first date with somebody that is technically a stranger, because this stranger word has come out often, right? Whether it's Mila or people trying to feel each other out, Brett and Ryan. But when you go on a first date for someone, some people have that hard and fast rule, right? We don't kiss on the first date, right? So I get it. Some people do, some people don't, but it's a thing, right? First dates, you're getting to know somebody. Maybe you're in each other's presence for 2 hours, 3 hours on average, right? Then you might go to your second date. You might say, I'm not ready to kiss yet, but we'll exchange a hug. Another couple of hours. Typically, by the third date in, you can give somebody a kiss, right? So we're talking about a collective of in-person time of, let's just say 10 hours. Right? These folks have now at this point been married for, let's say, give or take 72 hours, 128 hours, right? So if you really make that time into what quality time and quantify that you are spending together with somebody, think about that. So we are talking about hundreds of hours you are spending with someone, and you're still not at the level of being ready to full on be kissing or having some level of heavy petting, right? I just think like you would be making those connections. You're sleeping in the same bed. We're all grown. This isn't a 12-year-old sleepover here. We're married. At what point are we going to break the barrier and really kind of quantify the time we've really spent together back to back like that? And then get out of our comfort zone a little bit, because it'll always be a thing. And I think that happens when you make something a thing. It will always be a thing. And then you'll build it up to such a point that now it's like, oh, I'm like freaking out when you're just doing the basic things that you did in a normal relationship or a situation. So that's just kind of my push for them to quantify and look at the hours that they're spending together in terms of quantity time, and look at that as the measurement versus we just met each other.
Thank you for the unpopular thought there, Sean. Appreciate it. I think it was popular. Don't worry. I think you're good, bro. Anyone else want to add on the Bao and Johnny? Go for it, Ray.
Yeah, that's unpopular. So unpopular that I don't agree with it. No. Let me tell you why I don't agree with Sean. Because come on, how can you use the scenario of people in everyday life to this show? It's unfair. It's not a fair metaphor, right? You can't. I mean, you can, of course, you can do whatever you want. I mean, we're all human beings. We all have rights. But it's like, people in an everyday life dating scene is that. Married at first sight is this. And yes, I can understand someone saying you're still a stranger to me, because who in their everyday experiences this, where you're just thrust into a situation, you don't know this person, you have to be close to them, you do have to spend all those hours. So it's not the same thing. So we can't really apply the same energy to both. And this is what I'll also say. We have a lot to say about Michaela. Oh my gosh, she had sex 2 weeks before she got married. Oh my gosh, she gave it up so quickly. Which is it? Which is it? Which? And they were like, you need to get out of your comfort zone. Whoever wants to get out of their comfort zone? Come on. Which is it? That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
Would the opposing team like to wrestle that point that she just made in there, trying to throw in that quick one about Michaela in there? Would you like to oppose a point there? Sean, you don't want to oppose that point now?
So I was so caught up in the fact that Ray was agreeing with me. I just kind of let her slide. And I took a note from her book, right? Speak less. So I'm just going to speak less. If Ray, you want to win that, you can win it. I think we'll all see down the line how Michaela K, Hurricane K, Crazy K, all the K is out of whack and not okay. So I'll let you have that 2-week interlude moment, though.
I love Sean. I love Sean. I swear to God, I love Sean.
All right, cool. No worries. All right, cool. So we'll shift it from these two. I'm gonna shift it now to Brett and Ryan, because I can't wait to get them out of the way. I don't know what you guys are gonna say, because I don't have anything to say. Gonna be honest with you, I don't have anything to say. So we'd love to see what you guys are gonna say. I put Brett bring down the wall of Ryan. What's you guys' thoughts? Brett and Ryan, they were doing their whole massage thing and talking about kids. Apparently kids is not, if kids is not on the table for him, he's out the door and stuff like that, and yada 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 da da. Who wants to really hit that first? Like, I know we're tired of them already. Who wants to hit them first? Seaway, you want to go for it? Fantastic. Thanks, Seaway. Appreciate it, love.
I have no thoughts on them, except for I just wanted them off my screen. Like,
is that your little sound?
What? Can you hear me?
No, was that you? Did you press the bell?
Oh no, that's my text message going on.
Oh, I thought she was like, I'm so done.
Look, great timing. No, I have no thoughts. Except for I always mix their names up. Except for Ryan, just the same old that we say every week. He's depressing, but even more, just looking at him and his attitude and the kids, and I don't know. I don't have thoughts, Koda. I'm sorry. Except for I be breezing past them. It takes everything for me not to like pass right over them. Honestly,
I know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I sometimes click forward. I won't lie to you.
So sometimes I miss things, to be honest, because they bored the living hell out of me. And I think Brett would have been dope with another dude. Like, I think she would have been exciting with somebody else. With him, like, I just don't want her to drag him along. I don't want her to, like, I feel like he's, what is it, the ball and chain? Like, he's the little bucket that you have following behind you. I don't know. That's what he reminds me of for her. Like, she could have something way more exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear that. I appreciate it. Sean, what are you saying, man? Locked and loaded. Talk to me.
So listen, I don't think Brett gets a whole lot of grace, because at the end of the day, she's just done a whole lot of talking for me. She just talks, and I need this and I need that, and let's talk about this. It's like, all right, lady, Ray, you said it. Just speak less. Just is killing me. He definitely is dry. I get it. I understand. I agree with everyone on that. However, I would say our boy Ryan came out the gate talking about personal touch, talking about the need for intimacy. And, Brett just hit him with some long soliloquy. We're moving along. I just want to see how things are going. And, we want to take our time. was sitting having an intimate couples massage. Like, hello, people. Like, where are we doing? And that's where my, when I was talking about, let's consider the timing here, and think about what's important to you. And he was telling her that, right? Telling her what's important to him. So I think, they're one to watch. I want to see if the connection truly does build, if Ryan gets frustrated with her because she's, in her head. I think she may be what's called like a sapiosexual, where she's needing a mental stimulant. So that's where maybe all this talking is coming from, because she's trying to pull things from him. His family also told her that. So maybe she's trying to go in with that. Like, let me just pull as much out of him. And then I need to have that mental stimulus or some level of emotional connection. One of the two that she's seeking out. Maybe that's all the questions. But I think for her, sometimes she just talks herself out of things. I just get that feeling from her. And I'm longing for a connection with them. But he's, awkward too. He was rubbing the lotion on her back and he was like, whoa, we're going to need 2 people for this. I'm like, bro, you just low key called her fat. Like, did you realize that? Did you mean that? Like, I don't know if he gets it or if he hears himself when he talks. I know everybody mentioned about this grief that he's potentially going through, but bro, go through grief counseling first before you throw yourself through mass. If you're dealing with yourself and you got all that kind of stuff going on, it's heavy because it's weighing. Every time they're on the screen, it's weighing. So that's my thoughts on them.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you on this. I'm hearing you on this. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you fully on this, bro. Yes, Ray, what are you saying?
I've always found Ryan to be a little suspect. I don't know why. I have no proof. I can't put my fingers upon it, but there's something suspect about him. There's like a little cruel streak. When he talked about her being on the airplane, this is on a date, I would never do the second date. Just as Sean talked about the lotioning, there's something about him that is a little, and I don't want to assassinate him because I don't know the guy. It could be editing. But there's something about his energy that's just a little imbalanced. But we'll see how it goes. I absolutely 100% agree with Sean in regards to Brett talking a lot. However, I did feel like she talked less in this episode. I felt what she was saying was fair. Again, everyone moves at their own pace. It seems like, which is usual, men need physical touch. Men, for them, thus far, most of the men are talking about needing that intimacy. Right. And I think the fear for the women is, okay, well, I give you the intimacy, I give you the punani, I give you, what you want. And then what? Right. I give you the baby. And then what? Are you really going to help me change the Pampers? Are you really going to help me invest? Are you really going to help me engage? Are you really going to be present? Are you really going to be there? You know what I'm saying? It's so easy for men to want kids, but are you going to be the one that's carrying them? No. Are you going to is your body going to change? No. Are you going to get morning sickness? No. Is your back going to break when you're giving birth to the baby? No. Is your stomach going to be ripped open in a C-section? No. You see what I'm saying? It's like pace. Less is more. Let's show each other grace. Let's be of service energy, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just nuts.
No, I don't think you are, man. It's raw. I think just watching Ryan with Brett, I think I question whether he actually likes her. Like, that comment was just like the comment that he made about redheads are either hot or not. It's like, bro, you really are putting your foot in it. And I don't know if you're putting your foot on it unawares because you really don't like her and it's seeping out. Like you're trying to cover it, but it's seeping out in your behaviors. But I'm not feeling his behavior towards Brett at all, man. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. And that's as far as I'm gonna say, because I don't really watch them. I skip forward. I saw them do massages on the massage table, and I left them. Honest truth.
You missed the hammock moment too, Coach.
Yeah, oh my God, Sean, that was hilarious. Sean, tell me.
What happened in the hammock?
They had a little hammock moment where they had a little peck, kiss, little light little light action going on. Yeah.
But not even that, Sean. They couldn't even get on the hammock. Remember?
Yeah. They fumbled their way into it. I was trying to just stay on the positive. They tell me I'm negative, Ray. So I'm trying to,
Who said you negative? There's nothing negative about you, Sean.
Oh,
no.
Ray. See?
All right.
No. Oh, Ray. Come on.
I'm not negative.
Talking into the corner screen. We appreciate that, man.
Maybe hit me in the comments afterwards and they're like, "Oh, you're so negative, Sean. You're so negative."
I didn't know that.
So I'm trying to see the softer side.
Okay, but no, I agree with you, Sean. That hammock was a hot mess. How are you going to lead a relationship? You couldn't even lead her onto a hammock.
Well, remember, she wouldn't let him even lead her in the dance. So Brett wouldn't even do that little funky, shaky two-step that he was trying to do.
That's true.
He was like, I don't dance. I don't do I don't do this. Lady, relax. It's not the Cupid shuffle here. Just relax.
Okay, I hear you. Let's swiftly move on. Let's leave them behind. All right, cool. Sorry, I'm going to measure just echoes. Yeah, so yes, let's move on to the next couple. Let's move on to the next couple. Let's talk about who's it? Michaela and Zach, because there wasn't much action that happened with them as well because COVID got to them eventually. But we got to see a little bit. She had to go home early because he caught COVID. So I want to know what you guys' thoughts were on their particular section and what happened between them two. I know it wasn't much that was happening, but let's talk a little bit about them. Seaway, you ready? You ready? Oh, okay. Seaway, ready to go? Okay, Seaway.
Michaela's response to Zach catching COVID was the weirdest thing I have. That was just so weird. Like her standing in the corner talking about what about my bathing suits? What about the bathing suits?
Yeah, that was mad.
This is not how I envision my being married and I'm inside, and her not even understanding that she didn't need to sleep next to him. I was like, I don't understand. I was so confused by her thought process. I'm like, girl, this man literally has a disease that has killed so many thousands and thousands and millions of people worldwide. I'm like, and you're talking about the bathing suits and what you wish. It was just childish, and I was actually surprised. I was like, wow, this Hurricane Michaela person is coming out quicker than I thought. Because this is like a lot of immaturity. And he was more mature. He's like, I know, I have COVID. I'm like, why is the person with COVID comforting you? Like, girl. So I don't know. That was an early sign of her being really problematic. I mean, I know we've been talked about like stuff that we've seen and stuff like that, but that was just not a normal response to someone telling you they have COVID because you're mad about your honeymoon. I'm sorry, I agree with Merla. That raggedy behind honeymoon, I would have been pissed about that place. I would be like, yes, send me home. Give me the hell out the keys because this is not a honeymoon. Anyway, let's go back. All right. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of her response to Zach. I think Zach was really mature in that moment, dealing with that whole process. I think we got a lot more problems to come because that was not normal. Threw me way off.
I hear that. Ray, what are you saying?
I didn't understand this part really. Like, I was just really just the things that she was saying. I was just like, what is happening here? And then the way they edited, they would pause it with her in black and white, and they'd pause it again with her in black and white. Did you notice that? Yeah. Every time it was like da-na-na-na, pause, black and white, da-na-na-na, pause, black and white. It was strange. I didn't like the way they were editing her, but that's besides the point. Till death do us part, through sickness and health. I mean, do I have to say all this stuff? Like, this is like what was said in the vows, right? Like, but I have a question. Why did she have to leave? How come she couldn't stay? I didn't get that part. Was that production that said she had to leave? Was that Zach who said
she chose to leave?
I think they spoke. I think they said they spoke, and I think they both came to a conclusion that it's better for her to go home.
But why though? I don't understand that, because he could not tell me to go home. Production would have to. They would have to fight me to get me out of there.
Well, she was in the same room as him though, so she probably should have went home.
No, she shouldn't because she's in the same room as him. She
Yeah, she
shouldn't go
should have
anywhere.
quarantined
Yeah.
in the room.
I mean,
Yeah, you quarantined with him, no?
yeah, I mean, I'm
Or
saying
quarantine next door.
went
Right.
out though. She should have stayed wherever the hell he was at. She should have been at. If he stayed,
Exactly.
I don't think she should have been out and about though with everybody else because they could have had
Correct.
a whole COVID outbreak that would have messed up the season.
I think exactly that. She should have quarantined with. I would have quarantined with my man, honey. I would have stayed right there. I would have stayed in the hotel. We would have played games. If he had, if he had whatever energy, I would have been giving him massages, hot towels, ice. I would have sang a lullaby, wrote a rap, wrote some poetry.
He has a fever, Ray. A hot towel is going to send him into hypothermia.
Or like I said, ice.
Ray
Some
gonna
ice.
kill her, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Take him out.
Hot towel on your head, forehead. Oh, baby, come on.
But you know what I mean? Whatever he needed, if he was getting the chills, the hot towel, if he was feeling hot, the ice, foot massage.
That wasn't her mindset. She was being a brat. She was being a complete, that baby, that youngest sibling thing. No offense to any of the youngest siblings in the chat, but that was like really baby sister vibes. Like, I didn't get my way.
A spoiled child vibes.
Yeah,
not good.
I didn't get my way. I didn't get this, like, whatever. So let me just throw a fit and go home. That wasn't giving wife vibes. That was giving child vibes, and I didn't.
Yeah, she should have stayed. And to everybody's point, because I see in the comments, he tested positive. She didn't.
Yeah.
So even if she was in a different room, she should not have left the premises, right? They could have talked through the wall. You know, when you have those adjoining suites and the door is right there, just talk through the door. You know what I mean? Just be a consolation to one another.
Yeah, it wasn't cute. Mm-hmm.
So far in the chat said, I would say, can we get freaky tonight? I don't know who wrote that, but that is hilarious. That would be so me. Can we get freaky tonight?
Trying to come sneak in the room while production's there. I got COVID too. Yeah.
Your germs is my germs, right? We got them together now.
It's sickness and health. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, Kojo.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I mean, just watching it. Sorry. I think. Do you know what? I kind of got her a point of view. I actually did get a part of it. I'm not saying I agreed with everything that she did, but I got it. Right? Your first few days of knowing your partner, they get COVID, and it's like you can't spend your time with them now. You know what I mean? And bear in mind, you don't know them. So it's not like you have a year or 2 or 6 months of spending time with them to get to know them so that when you leave them, it's not a problem. You don't know each other. You met each other at the altar. It's been a few days. He gets COVID and it's like, flip's sake, I can't even bond with you now. Like the physical bonding aspect, I can't do it. I'm not talking about sex, but I'm talking about physical bonding with you. I actually can't do it. So I mean, I think she could have gone next door. I don't think she had to go all the way home. I mean, that's extra. But I did kind of get her, point in a sense of like I was thinking about saying, right, how would I react if my partner? Because I would be like, not a problem. But I'll be sitting in my room screwing. I'll be sitting in my room pissed. I'll be like, what? This COVID thing is trying to ruin my life and that. Because I'm just still trying to get to know you. And that's got in the way. So I did kind of get her on that point, but I definitely hear what you said about the bathing suit thing. That was mad. Like she was, and I don't know if they caught her off guard. I don't know if they caught her in the mid flow of a conversation that she was talking at one point, and maybe that's what they did to kind of edit that point in there. But yeah, it did sound kind of mad to us that you're saying I didn't get to wear all my bathing suits, and my man telling you, listen, I don't want you to be quarantined in the same room as me, and you're getting stretched about it. My G, understand he's got COVID. You can't be in the same room. And you're still remonstrating, standing in front of me whilst I've got COVID. The more you argue, the more chance you got of catching this thing. In fact, you need to quarantine, okay? Because the test beforehand doesn't cover for this conversation we're having right now. You know what I'm saying? See what are you saying?
No, and I completely understand the disappointment. I think all of us would have been disappointed, right? Like, and if she would have reacted with a normal level of disappointment, like, man, like this really sucks. Like you're sick. I'm worried about your well-being. I'm disappointed that we can't bond and TTU turn up, do whatever. That would have been normal. But her whole demeanor, she was like standing. They can't edit that demeanor. She was standing in the corner, basically throwing a fit Why he's basically like, I know, I'm sorry, I have COVID, and she's like basically throwing a fit. Like there's no editing around that. So I get it. But this is like 2020, 2021. This is 2020 continued. Nothing goes your way. Nothing. If you still thinking things gonna go your way, then I don't know where the hell you've been for 2 years. Believe me, trust. I can tell you, things do not go your way. There's nothing you can do about it. It's about how you deal with it. And everyone should be accustomed to dealing with issues that don't go their way by now. So I don't know. Like, you being inconvenienced by COVID, get in line. A whole bunch of people are inconvenienced. So I just wasn't. If this was like March of 2020, yeah, I would be like, oh, I feel bad for you. But like, there's a high probability that you can get COVID and it will mess up your day, your week, your next 2 weeks. Like, I don't know.
I hear you on that. I mean, like I said, I think we're seeing tidbits of her full-blown tornado that may come through town later on in the show. So I think this is probably just them setting us up to see what Michaela is really about. And I think this is really kind of talking about the high energy for Michaela that we always said we see. That high energy also produces those very, very deep lows. And so, yeah, we're seeing that high octane energy right now, but potentially we're going to see some really deep lows because she's not regulating herself well in the way that she has these emotional spurts. So I think we're going to probably see more of that as the show goes on. But yeah, definitely felt like, her arguing about him having COVID and staying in a room and was way out of line. And it kind of shows again an inconsiderateness of her own thought process. It was just about her in that moment rather than being about them. And the fact that this guy could die, this guy could die, and you could die if you catch it. So be careful. So I hear that. Okay, cool. Any other thoughts on Michaela and Zach? No? Yeah, we'll wait before we get to the next few weeks. We'll see the madness. All right, cool. Let's talk about another couple. Let's talk about Gil and Merla. Let's talk about Gil and Merla. Gil and Merla, because the macarons or macaronis or whatever you call them, macaroons. Okay, all right, was doing bits. Okay, she saw macaroons and said, "Now this is my speed, boy. Don't you know I'm bougie, you know what I'm saying? Like, forget the cookies. I need one of these macaronis, macaroons, macarons. Okay, all right. That's what I need right now. But let me bring Chris Nathan into the conversation. He's been in the background for a little while. Apologies. But he brought that macarons to the table and she was excited. I think he actually did something that was in her budget, and that was something that was within her financial realms that impressed her. But I think we're starting to see division. I think he's starting to make jokes because he's trying to cover up that he's getting annoyed. I think that's the start of the downhill that's about to happen. So, what's you guys' thoughts in regards to Gil and Merla? Chris Nathan, since you're fresh to the stage, I'll let you jump in.
Hi, hey family. Hi everybody.
Hey.
I think Gil is being passive aggressive. I think he's really over it. And he's making these jokes and he's over it. I think that Merla is making it really hard to enjoy a honeymoon. I get it. We all have preferences. I get it. We like this and we like that. But we are not in a normal situation. You didn't plan the trip. You didn't pick the spot. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you got to just chill. Sometimes you have to be like, okay, how can we find a way to still enjoy ourselves and have fun? And I noticed that Merla doesn't ask Gil a lot of questions about himself. And so I'm like, does she want to get to know him? Because to me, she asked him like a question about relationships, past relationships. But other than that, I haven't seen her ask like really deep questions to understand him, to want to get to know him. So that makes me feel like she doesn't like him. Because if someone didn't ask me questions about myself, I would be like, okay, he's not interested in getting to know me. So Gil is over it. I know that he jokes a lot. I want him to be more direct. Not be mean, but more direct. I think she needs that. But I don't think he should fit to the other cast members. That's never, regardless of how we feel about her. you just in a relationship, right? Like you can't do that because Merla's already like cold. Now I'm sure production is going to use that in a way where that's going to drag to the point where they're going to be like, which couple are we going to make reveal to Merla that her man was talking about her back? I can see this, like this drag. And then she'll use that as her reason. Well, see, this is why this ain't working for me, when really it was never working for her. And I don't know. I think production's kind of using Gil. I don't think he realizes it yet, but we'll see. I think he's their little puppet this season, personally. I think a lot of questions he's asked are not his own questions. I think they feed him lines and he just says them. So we'll see. That's my take so far. But it's impossible to have a good time with her. I just want her to chill. Like, it's a honeymoon. Like, my gosh. Like, come on already. And my boy still ain't getting no kiss. I feel some type of way about it.
I hear that. Okay, cool. Good points. Yeah, Sean, locked and loaded. What are you saying?
Miserable, moody Mirla. I'm over her. You know, it's just complaint after complaint after complaint after complaint about everything. So, you know, I just feel like she can't ever loosen up and just enjoy the moment. Every time we start talking about or trying to have a conversation, either she has a wall up or she's complaining. So I just really, I don't have much hope for her. I do think that he shouldn't have, if that was his idea, he should not have taken her on that seaplane ride. I think that's just, for anybody, that's a hit or miss, especially if somebody is not a thrill seeker like that. It's very, very unnerving, just like helicopters. Been in helicopters before. If that's not your lane, that's not your lane. You know, it could send somebody over the edge. Although, the one thing I have my eyes squinted in watching her about, she looked just fine when she got off that plane, though. She was okay. I think she just doesn't like to do what she doesn't want to do, and that's just it. And I think we hear that from her all the time. And Gil is trying to pull things out of her, trying to have conversations with her. He asked her, you know, like, what's important to her in a relationship? What's her love language? You know, she said gifts. And the minute he said Cartier, she was like, that's the biggest smile I saw on her the whole season thus far, is when he talked about, you know, what if I gave you a Cartier bracelet? You know, of course, he had to like flip it back on her and talk about a quilt, which we saw her face from there, right? You know, so I think she's got a long, long way to go. I don't see this going anywhere far between the two of them. Another one, she's like, I'm not kissing a stranger. You know, and then he was like, well, that's guy. She said, that's guys. Guys are just like that. You know, you asked him a question. He answered. He said, if it was me, I would have been comfortable with kissing you during the vows, a kiss on the lips. Right. She wasn't okay. But she's like, well, still, I need to get to know. And I'm very affectionate. I've yet to see that yet.
Yet to see it yet.
She still has these Christmas pajamas on. And, you know, we're like 4 or 5 days in. She's still rocking these flannels in the Florida Keys. Like, I don't get it. I'm so over the complaining, you know. And then the last piece I'll end on is, and this was something that for me sealed it. She would have to do somersaults and backflips for me to see her any differently. When he asked her, what did you learn from your last relationship? I learned that I'm steadfast in my relationships. I learned it's me. It's like, ma'am, no. What did you learn about yourself? What are you doing better today in terms of options, right? Like, how are you going to be a wife? And what are the things that you've done to prepare yourself with to be someone who's just fun to be around? So I'm just over her.
I hear you on that, bro. I hear you on that. Ray, what are you saying?
I'm sorry. I'm not feeling Gil. How he handled his wife amongst the other couples, for me, I would have been done. I would have gone to production and I'm like, I want to go home. It would have been done. That would have been a major, major, major deal breaker. How is that loyalty? Loyalty is key. How is that? How can you take the issues that you have with me, your wife. You want me to kiss you. You want me to appreciate everything that you do, but you step outside of the household as the head of the household, and you go outside and you talk smack about me, and I'm not even there to defend myself. Big deal breaker. There's nothing Merla can do in comparison to that. I'm sorry. I don't care if she's complaining about what is it, the froth on the almond milk. There would be a man that would. There's men out there, okay, who would. She wouldn't have to say anything. Excuse me. There's no froth on her almond milk. Some men. I'm not saying all. Maybe not you, Sean, but there is a man out there who. Sean is like. There are men out there. I've seen it. There are men out there, okay, rich men specifically, who would listen to her, figure out what she likes. Wouldn't be sly and passive aggressive with what he said. Oh, well, that's a bougie cookie. Nothing out of Merla's mouth says to him, oh, you're a poor man. Oh, you're low class. Oh, you don't know how. No. So why are you dissing her? I'm sorry. I'm not. Look. Of course, Merla she can talk less. Less is more with her too, but I like her. She says exactly what she wants. She knows what she wants. She says, you can call it complaining. I disagree. You can call it miserable. I disagree. As far as I'm concerned, Gil is the head of the household. He's the man. He's the masculine energy. And what he did has thrown the entire relationship and her under the bus. Unacceptable.
I mean, I can't argue with the throwing the bus situation, though. Yeah, he threw her royally underneath the bus and then ran it over again, and then backed up and said, Go on, Seaway.
Let me tell you, I'm glad Ray said it, so I don't have to reiterate all of that. As a Sag, shout out to all my Sages in the chat. As a Sag and a person who values loyalty, if I would see the clip of what Gil did, there is literally no redeeming. He would have to, I don't know what he could do to redeem that situation. Let me tell you about Mila. Mila is annoying as hell. Mila is insufferable, I think. I think she complains as a matter of course. I think she complains just as her personality. I think she's picky. I think she doesn't know when to stop. She's all those things. Even though we all have our bougie meter. Personally, if I would have gotten the keys for my honeymoon, I would have been really pissed. That room was horrible. I wouldn't have wanted to stay in it. I probably would have did like how Mila did with her dress and got my own room. How dare Lifetime, segue side note, how dare they put them in that room? And if you've ever traveled before, if y'all, the travelers in the chat, no, that's not no honeymoon suite. That is not appropriate. But with all that being said, Mila is the type of person where what she says is what she is. What you see is what you get. And to me, there is something valuable to that type of person. You're always going to know where they stand. If they're agitating you to your face. If they're doing something, they're doing it to your face. I feel like she's a very transparent person, even with all her flaws. And for me, I'd rather somebody get on my nerves to my face than do what Gil did. Because what he did, you don't talk about your wife to a whole bunch of people, say that you gotta control her and I just gotta let her whine it out like she was a baby. I was like, that is your wife who you're talking about. Like, are you serious? And I agree. I think he's very passive aggressive. I mean, we all know that the experts put them both in a bad situation. So I'm not saying he doesn't have a reason to be upset before anyone says something. I do believe he has a reason to be annoyed. If I was him, I would be annoyed. But as a man, you don't do what he did to act out your frustration. You don't go to a group of people and talk about your wife, because then you're going to let your wife go to that same group of people and she's going to look stupid. She's going to look like boo-boo. And you just talked about her. Now she's supposed to walk to the same group of people after you done said all those things. Like, I'm not kissing you either. If I found that out, that is not a man. And let me just say, I feel like Mila is not attracted to Gil's energy. Gil's a very attractive man. Nice looking man. When you first see him, when he dresses up, but his energy gives me weak sauce. His energy gives me kind of passive aggressive, whatever. And I think we'll go 7 more weeks without her kissing him. And don't let her find this out. So, yeah, they're both good, just not for each other. But I don't think that he should ever do what he did again, because that is not the signs of a man. That is signs of a chatty patty, and no one likes a chatty
patty. That's for sure. Loose lips sink the ships.
Objection, judge. I object.
Go for it.
Order in the court, okay? Seaway, Ray, order in the court. Y'all are out of control. This man has been berated with complaints throughout this entire time, his entire meeting with her. She has done nothing but complain. She's ripped her own girlfriends that were bridesmaids about their makeup. She's complained. He's had to deal with her family, her 2-bit brother talking about, you're going to have to deal with me. Bro, what? Come on. How much has this one person had to take? And I'll admit that wasn't his best moment, but I can understand and empathize with the fact that you sometimes need an outlet. And where was Mila? By the way, where was she that she couldn't be there? She was working. What was she doing? She was working with or we know where she was. What was she doing? Consulting the principals on Zoom during her vacation, during your honeymoon. Put down the laptop, sis. You got money, right? You can't spare 2, 3, 4 days away from your work, away from your laptop and your business and making all your money that you can't be with your husband. So you left him alone. Guess what? That was his moment to vent his frustration. I think this man has the patience of a saint, and I will say it to the rooftops. God bless him, because it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be me. 24 hours in, lady, pack your stuff up, cancel the contract. I'll cut a check to Lifetime. I'm out of here. I'm not listening to this foolishness. I don't care how much money you think I have, how much money I have. It doesn't matter. Nobody, I don't care how wealthy you are. Nobody wants to deal with someone like that. And for nothing. What's the outcome? She won't even kiss the man. No, I'm sorry. She's to the moon. Send her away, wrap her up, put her in the jet, and send her back up to the moon. I'm done. It's like, come on. We're going to rip him for venting his frustration? Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not the best thing he could have did, but he could have done a whole lot of worse things. You know, cussed her out clean, which is what I think she deserves, because she's miserable and just not even receptive to hearing anything. It's the me show. Nobody wants that. That's fun for no one.
Wait. Oh, freaking hell. So who's going?
I just want you to if you're gonna cuss me out to my face though. Like, don't do all that stuff behind my back. No one said that Gil don't have a reason to be annoyed with Mila. I mean, she's done a lot of stuff to me that's been very, very annoying. So I think we all can agree that she's done a lot to be annoying. I think she complains a whole lot, and yeah. But I just don't feel like it's ever appropriate, and you can't just brush over what he did. If he has a problem, if you got a problem with Mila, tell it to her, your face, you got a problem. That's what a man does. He tells his woman to his face, I have a problem with you. You keep complaining about everything. We can't enjoy ourselves because every time you look up, you got a complaint. You want almond milk. This is a senior citizen's home. Whatever he want to say. So you don't act like it's all good, then go sit with the group and talk about her. That to me says more about his character than her character. Because I can't put what she's doing wrong, and I can't have that be justification for what he did. That wasn't just venting. He didn't vent to his guys. He didn't pick one person to talk to. He didn't vent to the experts. He literally talked about her back, called her akin to a baby, and said all this type of other stuff. No, if you were better off cussing her out to her face than doing that. And I think a person like Mila would have respected him saying something to her face than what he did. So I can't put that on Merla. She earns a lot, but she didn't earn that. Because she's been 100 with him. 100 trash, whatever, but she's been 100.
Okay. Christopher?
I just want to say that two things can be true at the same time. I know the chat loves when people, when we kind of like, they feel like we might be dragging somebody, so they get excited. I get that, everybody. But seriously, like, Merla, we understand she is a difficult person. Nobody's saying she's not. What we're saying is that in relationships, right, if we're talking about behavior, we never want to feel like our partner's going to throw us under the bus, in a sense of talk about us in a negative manner to other people. That's all we're talking about. We're not saying that Merla isn't difficult. We're not saying she's not cold. All of those things are true. We're saying that it's not good practice, right? Because what happens down the line when something serious is going on? You know what I mean? And all of you that are saying that, oh yeah, but he said it already. He said it in so many ways. It's okay. If it were you that your partner was discussing with other people, I'm sure you would feel differently. So that's what we're saying. It's never okay. Get married and start telling everybody else about your partner. See how well that works for you. It's never okay, period. Yes, Merla deserves it. I agree. She's cold. However, we're just talking about he could have gone down there and still been like, listen, we're moving in a slow pace. It's not going the way I had planned, but we're hoping that we can enjoy this trip and grow. Yeah, that's really like sugarcoating it. But listen, it's a show. But if you're trying to be married, like, you just got to be careful with how much you share in general. So I think two things can be true at the same time.
I hear you on that. I mean, to be fair, I agree with the girls on the dragging part, right? So the public, because when I watched that, I said, oh my days. I said, sir, what you just did there, it's in front of strangers, not even just strangers, even if it was friends. There is a level that you can't release to them in a group like that when you don't know everybody's intentions and what kind of dynamics you guys have in terms of the intimacy of the relationship. You want to check in with your partner first before releasing that information. He was a bit too comfortable releasing that information. I think what he was looking for was an outlet. I just don't think he realized it may not have been a space to discuss it, especially with the women. They're going to snitch. Sir, this is not where you wait till you have a man-them conversation. You know what I'm saying? Let them snitch to their wives and their wives go and tell Merla. It's a completely different situation when it happens. But when you say it in front of the husbands and wives together, it doesn't look good. It looks like there's no unity in the team. Do you know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree that movement was a bit off from him, and what he said, like, he said way too much. He needed to control the tongue at that time. I would also say that I wouldn't say he's necessarily a passive aggressive person, but he definitely shows some passive aggressive movements, right? Like, I think the jokes that he makes are part of the passive aggressiveness, right? It's an inability to actually say what you really want to say, which is, bro, you're sick and tired of her games. Yeah, you're sick and tired. Sorry, not games. You're sick and tired of her attitude, her complaints. It's getting to you. And I think what he did was use passive aggressive tactics to try and communicate that he's getting frustrated, rather than just saying straight out, hey, I'm going to be honest with you, I am not feeling your attitude right away. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely can see that aspect as well for talking about Gil. What I would say, and it's not a counterbalance, I think Chris Nuffer put it correctly, two things can be true. What I would say is, I am so sorry, but Mila is a drag. And I'm sorry, it doesn't matter how rich the man is, she'll be a drag. Because when your attitude is poor, your attitude is poor. It's just that simple. The finance, and listen, this love language that is got a financial tag price. It's not a love language. That's not a love language. That's what you want. See, this is why people get things confused. When you deal with a love language of gifts, it's not the price tag. Although the price tag can be very important too. People appreciate that. But the mere fact that he made an equation between a Cardiet, whatever it's called, gift, and a quilt, and she definitely chose a Cardiet thing. I said, well, that shows it. And it said, your thing is not your love language isn't gifts. Your love language isn't gifts. You get excited by gifts. That's how you appreciate someone, because they give you these expensive gifts. But that's actually not your love language, because it's actually not the price of the gift that actually matters. It's about the intention. It's the heart behind it. She doesn't care about that. What she cares about is the price of it. I don't think that's her love language. I don't think that's a lot. I think she needs to go and research again, go back and do that test again, all over again, and find out what is her actual love language. It's not gifts, right? Because whenever you speak to anybody who wants gifts, yes, the price tag can be important. It's nice when someone can buy something very, very expensive, but it's never always about having an expensive gift. And if that's where your mind has always gone to, that's not your love language. You've got a very warped way of looking at how your love is meant to be interpreted in that sense, right? So I think it is getting to Gil. He just needs to find a better way of really speaking to her and saying, hey, look, you're doing a lot. Because like even the macaronis, whatever situation when they were having or whatever, right? When he did it, he did a great job. She actually celebrated him for it. And then he made a joke about her being bougie. Listen, and you've done it once or twice already. So it's gonna come off some type of way that you may be trying to dig a little bit, right? And then you kind of have a conversation after about saying, if you didn't say you were high maintenance, I would have thought da-da-da-da-da. So it looks like you kind of move in a certain direction. So I'd rather you just say what's on your heart, big man. Just say, I ain't gonna lie to you, Mila, right now, we're really not clicking because I think you have a different way of viewing things. And maybe I need to understand you a bit more. I don't know, but I'm not feeling what you're giving me right now because you've complained at X, Y, and Z. Rather than making the passive aggressive kind of jokes, I think a little bit, just say what's on your heart, big man. Do you know what I'm saying? Let her know straight. And if you gotta leave, you gotta leave. It is what it is. But I think, there is a little bit of passive aggressiveness, but I understand why he's feeling that way. But he definitely outed her amongst the group, and you can't do that. That's a no go. Yeah, so he has to take some smoke this week. But she's insufferable at points in time. Milk turned into an album milk situation. That's mad. I'm sorry. It's just like, yo, Chelby, you're not gonna die. You know me. Anybody else want to add to Gil and Myrtle? Go for it, Ray.
We talk about the Bible a lot on this panel. Not a lot, but we bring it up sometimes. When I was growing up, my family raised us that Christ's marriage is considered as Christ's relationship with the church, and how there's an unbreakable spirit. There's a spirit of fidelity. There's a spirit of protection, right? And I think we as women, we intrinsically, yes, everyone feels Mera is difficult and miserable and all those things. I get her. Okay. So there's something, maybe she's feeling in her energy, like Siwe said, that there's something that doesn't click well with Gil, and maybe she doesn't feel protected. Maybe I'm going on a limb here, but this is what I feel. I don't know. It really rubs me the wrong way. There's nothing protective about what he did. And that for me is serious stuff. Because as I said, someone will look at what Gil did and see that as a flaw, and see that as a weakness, and see that he doesn't even realize that he's putting himself in a comfortable position. Okay? You don't talk about your wife. You don't talk about what's going on in your household. You don't do that, no matter how unbearable she is. It's like a man saying, well, she didn't give me sex for 6 months, so that's why I cheated on her. Excuses. Take accountability, take responsibility, say what you have to say, do what you have to do, and move accordingly.
Coach, can I share a scripture since, Ray is waxing scriptural and biblical context in here? Don't cast your pearls on swine. How about that?
I love that verse, but I don't know what that has to do with this. Who's casting pearls before swine?
What is he wasting that energy on? Somebody is pouring into an empty vessel. So you're talking about a biblical principle for two people that are equally yoked. In this instance, they are not, and she is not covering him as a husband. So they are both, and just like Chris Natha said, right, two things can be true at the same time. So they both can make mistakes, but Mirla isn't proving herself to be the wife, the bride. Right? She is just complaining incessantly. So what happens is you see someone's flaws, and this is a flaw, right? So he made a mistake. He vented to the wrong audience, to the wrong place. And I get it. I'm not excusing it, but I will not say that he is cast down and pushed to the side and this is the ultimate mistake. He's known her for 4 days. He's trying to figure it out. right? It's not like there's some whirlwind romance and he slipped up after they've been together for months and years. He just met her, and all he's been embraced with is complaints, a lack of affection, rudeness, condescension, and he made a mistake and vented to some folks that were there with him. It's not a carnal sin here. Let's not make this the nail in his coffin. She's got enough of them. She needs to step up to the plate. You know what I mean? Like, I just think, let's ease back on. We can honestly understand he made a mistake, but come on, Mila's not giving him a whole lot to work.
I don't know how this has, again, I don't know how this has to do with casting. I don't know what he's casting that's of pearls. Okay, that's pearl-like. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is this: a man. Men talk about how they want to be the leader. They want to be the head of the household. Dr. Nicole said this best. You, the man, you set the tone. You set the energy. And what you're putting out there is what's going to come back. Okay? And I know Sean doesn't agree this is the ultimate sin. For me, this would be a major... I don't know how to look at him any differently. It shows lack of emotional intelligence, not him, because I don't know Gil, right? This would just be editing. But what we see, lack of emotional intelligence, not knowing his audience. He's a man, not being logical, being less emotional. You know what I mean? Just standing in his masculinity. And this is, and this is what this manosphere and this, I just learned about Kevin Williams. Sean and I were talking about this last week. These guys on YouTube are talking about, rich men want women who don't need to be smart and they don't need to be well educated. They just want women that they can spoil and spend money on, and women who are cooperative. I'm sure if she was around, and I know you guys don't agree, but if she was around a rich guy, I've seen it with my own two eyes. A dude who just who leads with money and just wants to please her and give her everything. You know what I mean? That could possibly be what she needs. But for me, that's besides the point. Gil stepping out of his household, his unit, and talking about Mira like that, not good. Not good.
I hear you. I mean, I don't think it's an unpardonable sin. I don't think it's an unpardonable thing. I mean, come on. I mean, I think we're exaggerating. Just a teeny bit. Just a teeny bit. I mean, if we haven't written off Mila yet, I don't think we should write off Gil just yet. And you know what I mean. I think I definitely hear you though. I'm not gonna lie to you. If my partner did that, I would be looking at a person like, you are not a safe space. You know what I mean? And you're not able to hold your lips. Like that's why I would say I agree with you that it could be dangerous, because in future now I have to watch what I say, because you might just take it out to the commoners out there. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I do agree with you in terms of the fact that this can be seen as a larger picture, that you ain't really holding the safe space. Do you know what I'm saying? If that sends Mila over the edge, I'm still gonna say it. You were already over the edge before it got to that point. That didn't send you over the edge. You were already on the edge. You know what I'm saying? You were already on the edge. You were already falling from the cliff. That point, that thing that he did there doesn't send her over the cliff. She just wasn't feeling him, and she hasn't been feeling for the very beginning get-go. He's not in the same tax bracket as her. Seemingly for her, it looks like. I just don't think... that anything he does from here on out is going to make her change her mind. And potentially, I agree this part with with Seaway, in a point that the energy that he's putting out for her, and I'm going to say it, for her, this is not for women, this is for her specifically, it's not enough to quell whatever energy she's bringing to the table, right? Now, here's the thing. The question we got to ask is this: Mila, the energy you're bringing to the table, is that going to get you married in future?
Sure.
That's the only question we need to ask off that. Because I don't mind. I will always happily say there's some men, we said it before. I said, the audience crucified when I said about Jason, but hey ho. Some certain men don't carry certain energy, right? And I always say, hey, do you know what? they don't carry enough energy. I think Gil carries enough energy, but it definitely is not enough for Mila. I think she needs a straight shooter, someone who's going to be less emotional. I think Gil's got a bit more. I don't emotional intelligence, maybe a little bit tricky to say that, but I definitely think he's maybe more in tune with his emotions. I think she needs a cold killer. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think she needs a cold killer. I think she needs somebody who's gonna be like, hey, look, boom, 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 boom. That's it. Listen, when you come out of pocket, I don't like that. Stop that straight away. I think she needs that kind of direct command tone from Gil, and I think she will only get that from Gil when he's annoyed. And that's the difference. There are men who will be like, I'm not annoyed. I just don't like what you're doing. I set it straight here. Whereas Gil's going to wait till he's done it 3, 4, 5 times. And then he says it. And I think that's where it's not going to work with Mila and him. So, yeah, she needs someone's alpha male energy. She needs somebody who's going to have, I guess, in that sense, a little bit of that alpha male energy where they are direct. Or type A, if you want to call it. They're very direct, choleric type people. On the money, direct, let you know from the jump, I don't like this, I like this. And I think that just makes her check herself a little bit and calm down. I think at the moment what's happening is she's almost taking the lead in the relationship, and Gil's emotional side is coming out more, and it's unfortunate. It's just that she's more dominant in that area. So I think she needed a more dominant male, but whether she'll find that, who knows?
You know what, Kojo, and it's similar to what we were talking about last week in regards to Zach's parents, right? How the mother has a little bit more of this masculine, dominant energy, and the father is a little more, same with LaRonda and Sean, you know what I mean? So, maybe if she was, you're correct, with a more dominant, I'm not saying more masculine, but maybe more dominant or masculine man, she would adjust differently. Yeah, that's a great point.
Seaway, do you believe that? Will she adjust, do you think?
I think there is a man out there for Mila. I don't think she's unmatchable.
There's a man for everybody, actually. There's a woman for everybody.
Exactly.
But will you find that match? That's the question.
I mean, will she find that match? Like I think I've said this a couple of lives ago. I think she's gonna have to give up some things to get the match that she wants, because the person that she said that she wanted when she was said she wanted to read books is not necessarily the person that I think will be the best match for her. I did want to take it back there because Sean said something that about Mila didn't cover Gil. I just want someone to put on the record what she did not to cover him outside of just being annoying. I mean, I personally don't know what she has done to him in particular. What he did with the friends was actually against her. What she's done is just be annoying or agitating, like a personality trait. I don't know what she's actually done against him. I have more to say, but I did want to. I never really heard what she actually done personally against him, attack against him.
Can I answer that?
You can, Sean. Go for it, because she's talking to you.
It's called stonewalling, right? So when you're talking and getting to know someone in a relationship, and every time they have a conversation with you or they talk to you about something, you put up a wall, she is not opening herself up. And then she constantly complains, which is a deterrent to the progress in their relationship. So she's constantly complaining. She is not being vulnerable to really be open to receptive to anything he wants to do outside of the plane ride that she went on begrudgingly. So for me, as in a formative stage of a relationship, how we interact with each other is important. And that's what I'm looking for. Right. So she just constantly puts up this front, and it's like, I'm not talking. You're not getting in. I am who I am. I'm not changing. And she has said in that consistently. So that behavior on her end is problematic. I like how we minimize it and call it annoying. No, it is not just annoying. It's not just annoying. It is super problematic. And there is toxic elements to that because she's also hyper materialistic. And that's not pleasant for anybody. And lastly, I'll say we need to stop this myth that there's somebody for everybody, right? There's not as many men and as many women on the planet, right? So some people are going to be single, and some people can not be single if they make better options, whether it's men or women. Some women are going to be single because they don't want to change. So they are stuck in a position that keeps them single. So Mila is somebody that, yes, could be in a relationship, but based on her choices and us co-signing this behavior that is toxic is what's going to keep her single, because nobody's going to be pleased by that. Yeah, a rich man may be able to afford the things that she wants, but guess what? She's not going to be happy because he's going to be outside getting that feminine energy, that positivity. He's going to get that access someplace else, because everybody needs to be satisfied in those ways, men and women. So nobody wants somebody that's just all about themselves. So I think we got to call it what it is. Let's not combine two things. Gil is wrong for the conversation, but it doesn't excuse Mila and all the things that she has done up to this point to make it very difficult to be in relationship with Gil. I'm sorry. We can't excuse that because he made a mistake and talked to some of the folks that are there on the same journey with him.
Interesting. Do the ladies want to respond to that? Chris Arthur, do you want to respond to that? Anybody want to respond to that? Seaway and Chris
I
Arthur.
personally just want to say that Mila's her behavior can't be excused. So I just want to make, at least on my point, like I don't think we were excusing what she did, but I don't think that we can excuse what she's done. She is difficult to be with. It has been really hard these last couple of days they've been married, which is a very short time. So that is true. And what he did, we still, like we said earlier, that wasn't okay. And I think those two things can be true. Will she find somebody else outside of Gil? Possibly. However, I think Seaway said that she would, if she does, she would have to give something up. Meaning, yeah, you might find somebody who spends a lot of money on you, but you may not get emotional connection. You know what I mean? Like you may not have that part. And so what are you willing to give up to get what you want? And are the things that you want as important or more important than the other things? So that's something she has to figure out. I don't see her and Gil making it because honestly, this is just difficult. It's difficult to watch. It's exhausting. It should not be this hard getting to know somebody. I'm just being honest. Personally, I'm a pretty easygoing person. I get it that there's stages to this, but this is a lot. So that's my take.
Seaway, you want to respond? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for a lot of women watching this in particular, especially those of us who if you've gone through rough relationships or haven't found a nice guy, or the guys that you've been with are, abusive, not nice, not interesting, things like that. It's hard to see Gil, who appears to be a nice guy, a marriable guy, be in this type of situation with Mila. But I do think it needs to be noted, although a lot of us may want a guy like Gil, a lot of women don't. And a lot of women may not be a good fit for him. And I see a lot of times with these shows that a lot of the women in the comments and who watch the show, as soon as we see a nice guy, we get so infuriated if a girl doesn't want the nice guy or doesn't want this particular guy. Even though they may not have enough money, they may not have the swag, they may have different things. It's like it just gets under everyone's skin. Like, I would want a Gil. Why wouldn't you want a Gil? You know what I'm saying? A Gil doesn't work for everybody. And I think what the problem happened is the fact that the experts put Gil with Mila. And I don't think there is much that Gil can do to make Mila respect him. I know it's been 5 days, but I don't think that she respects him. She's a straight shooter. She seems like she wears her heart on her sleeve. She's guarded, but she seems like, I don't think she hides much. She just won't let you in, but she's not hiding anything. And so from what I see, I don't think that she's really going to warm up to him too much. I could be wrong, but I tend to read people. So I just feel like she doesn't respect him. She probably won't respect him, and there's not much that
he can do about
it. And that's not to say that Mila is wrong or she won't ever find nobody. That energy that Gil is giving just may not be for her. I do think that if she takes this same behavior, before anyone says something, to lots of different types of relationships, she's going to get pushback in many different types of relationships for this behavior. But I don't necessarily feel like Gil in his slight passive aggression and his kind of, I don't want to call it beta energy, but it's definitely not super alpha energy. I don't really feel like it's there. It's a good match for her. I don't think it's bringing out the best in her. And I don't think that she's bringing out the best in him. And that's why we have the situation. So hopefully she divorces him and Gil can be with somebody in the comments or whoever else thinks he's great, because Mila does not think he's that great.
I wonder who Mila thinks is great.
I don't know. He's tough crowd. He definitely don't think Gil is that great. I'm not going to comment on what I think. I'm not sure yet what I think about him. I just know I don't like what he did on this episode, and I wouldn't tolerate it. You talk about me behind my back, call me a baby that needs to be coddled. Talk about divorce paper. You can't talk about me behind my back. That is what they say when you get married. Like, you know, you're supposed to be two parts of the scissors. Don't let anyone come in between you. You're going to get cut. That is lesson 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't ever do that. You want to stay married. That's what they tell you at your bridal showers and everything. You don't go behind talking about your husband and wife. That is what you don't do. Even in a serious relationship, if you're planning to be married, don't be going around telling all your homeboys and homegirls what your fiance or what your serious boyfriend or girlfriend did. You don't do that.
Can we just agree to disagree on this one? Because at the end of the day, we can go down this rabbit hole and I could think of points that you're saying that I'm going to disagree with, because all these couples are doing things that the normal couple doesn't do in the timing that they don't do it. So we make concessions in some area and then we don't make concessions in others. We take hard stances in other areas, but then we want to take a hard stance in others, right? So let's just move on, because we can agree that it was wrong. We didn't like it, but it's not the end of the day. And you may disagree and I may disagree, but let's just move on, because we're not going to see anything differently. It's not going to change.
Can I say that I feel, Sean? I feel you, Sean. I get you 100%. I do. I feel you in the core of my spirit. I feel what you're saying, Sean. I disagree with it, but I feel you, and I want to say that. So this is what I'll say. I think what Sean just said is excellent, because he's right. You know, we have these hard stances and everything. So this is what I'll say. It's the same thing if you going around and you telling your girlfriends, "Ooh, girl, my man, he is laying it down, honey. His thing is huge, girl. He be giving me orgasm." Same thing. People will use it against you. The less you talk about what is happening in the intimate aspects of your relationship, the better it is for you. So I agree with you, Sean. But come on, you the dude. But I feel you, Sean. I feel you. I get you. I get you. I'm with you. I feel it. I feel the passion. But come on. It's the same thing like chickies. Don't be telling your girlfriends how your man is amazing. It's like, who was it in these shows? Some show I don't watch it, but I can't even say the name, but some show on reality TV on Bravo. One of the girls went to one of the other girls' houses. Next thing you know, she stole her husband.
Oh, Portia.
Yeah, I don't know who these people are, but something happened with,
Portia,
yeah, exactly.
Alan.
Like, come on. You got to be women. Be careful who you introduce your man to, how much you talk about. Same thing with Gil. Shh, and you talking bad about your wife. Unacceptable. So, Sean, I'm with you, though. Sean, I'm with you.
Yeah, I enjoyed the conversation. I thought it was pretty good. All right, cool. Let's move to the last couple. I loved the conversation there. It was good bants and good stuff there as well. The last couple, we're talking about, obviously, Rachel and Jose. I know you guys probably heard some of the conversation with some of the other panelists that we spoke about earlier on. We were speaking about, whether Jose was some elements of control in there, or whether it was we're just reading too much into it, too deep. What was your kind of thoughts with the Rachel and the Jose? Because there was some tension, definitely in the air there. You know what I'm saying? Sean, you want to go for it?
So Rachel and Jose, I think they're off to an interesting start. They seem like they've got a good connection. They've got the chemistry there, which I think is really, really good. The one part that is concerning is I believe Rachel is starting to feel like Jose is controlling her, right? When they started to talk about finances, breaking down the joint accounts, how they would manage their finances together, his views on it, and then where they would live when they returned home. So I think Jose is kind of like, I don't know if it's an overcompensation. I'm not sure if he just likes her so much, he's just laying it on super, super thick. I can't gauge where this is coming from, but he definitely did a big change from what we heard from him in the very early stages before he met and married Rachel. So I'm wondering kind of where this is coming from. In that sense, I know in the when we had some of the viewers come on earlier, we talked about the machismo aspect of it. So I would happen to think that is playing into it. But he does too much talking about, well, what a masculine man would do, or a masculine man wouldn't turn down a woman for sex, and the man is supposed to do the provision. And I think we don't have to scream these things from the mountaintops. It's built in. If that's who you are, that's going to be who you are. And I get it from her point. It's like how far this is going to go. And she mentioned that in the Unfiltered, right? She was like, I felt like I needed to squash the controlling vibes that I was starting to feel because I didn't want to be controlled. And she felt like he would now try to use his money and his financial ability to control her. And I understand that. And I could understand, a woman and, being in that position and not wanting to be suffocated and have like, being toyed around with because he's holding the wallet. What I would say for her is just slight piece of advice is just take a step back, right? And we hear these things in our households, and sometimes our parents, they're well-intentioned, but they do a disservice to us too in relationships at times, because she mentioned what her dad told her, have your own, do your own, make sure you don't ever need a man, right? I get that part, and that there's nothing wrong with being able to do for yourself, but sometimes that repetitive messaging can also traumatize somebody or make them think like they constantly have to have their guard up. And I think it could be, make sure you find the right man, right? You find the right man who's going to treat you the right way, where you can be secure in that relationship, but you always want to make sure you have your own, right? But, trust that when you find that right man, they will be able to provide and also nurture and not take advantage of you. So I think that part of the messaging was left out. Because she was just so hyper focused on, I need to have my own, I need to be independent. And in a marriage and in a relationship, as much as you are still your own independent self, in order for a marriage to be successful, those two people need to be indelibly linked together. They need to be, one and of the same. So you need to let go of some of those things in order for the relationship to be successful. So I just would want her to be open to more of that vulnerability down the line and kind of let that wall down. That's not necessarily the kind of marriage that she wants to have, where you're going into it with your guards up and waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Some poignant points there, mate. As always. Okay, who's willing to take up the next batting position? Appreciate that, locked and loaded. Oh, Dallas, everybody's gone quiet now, isn't it? When it was Gil and Mila, you had no quietness.
No, I mean, I can go. I have, Jose didn't bother me this much this week. And, I've been kind of feeling heated towards Jose.
Wait,
but
you didn't feel nothing from Jose, but you felt something from Gil.
Let me tell you what it is. Sean hates when I say this because I'm always talking about it from the streets. But where I come from, that's the number one rule you don't do. So that's why, for me, that's a deal breaker.
I hear that.
But if a man is trying to control me with his money, I mean, I'm not going to have an issue with that. I'll know how to deal with him. Whereas Rachel doesn't know how to deal with him. You see, that's why I'm saying, Rachel, less is more with her. I would just listen, watch, and not say much. Because Jose is the kind of guy that if you talk too much, he'll just run you over. He'll just not listen. He'll just not take you seriously. But if you don't speak much, he'll then wonder, is she attracted to me? What does she think? Does she approve? And then when you come out with a direct bam, then I think that has more of an influence for him. Do you see what I'm saying? But I get it. I'm not going to have a problem with a man who wants to take care of me. And I'm also not going to have a problem with a man who wants to control me with his money. Will I accept that? No. Have I accepted it in the past? Yes. Will I accept it in the future? Never again. Yes. But I don't have a problem with it. I understand how some men lead with money and subconsciously or maybe consciously, or maybe they don't realize it, they do realize it, they become controlling with their money. Yes. This is why, although Sean may disagree with Rachel's father, I think there's something to what Rachel's father is saying in that be financially independent so that if a man ever does become controlling with his money, you have a way out. I'll start there.
Chris Nath, I saw you open your mic. I had to run my bad. Go for it.
Oh, sure. No, I just want to say that with this couple, they both are attracted to each other, like they like each other. They're kissing all over the place. So that's a good sign, right? So they connect on that level. In terms of Jose providing, I don't see anything wrong with him wanting to provide. However, there has to be a balance with both of them. He cannot be in full control all of the time. I hate that when he kisses her, it's like he grabs her face or her neck. I don't know. It's weird. It's like, stop it already. Yeah, it's so awkward. I'm like, you don't got to be in that much control. You know what I mean? Like, just kiss her, dude. She likes you. You don't have to be grabbing her neck and all. Like, it's just a bit much for me. But also, I think she can still want to be a contributor in their marriage, in their household, in their family. So I think they can balance that out if they're willing to. I like him wanting to like, oh, do this and do you want me to brush your teeth and all this other, that's okay, too much. Seriously, that's like very, very crazy. So there has to be a balance. Like I said, they seem like they're into each other, but it just got to make sense. I don't think she should be like so independent where she doesn't let him do anything, because I think that he takes joy in that, or like that makes him feel important and needed. So I think that there just has to be a balance with that. And I don't think she should completely, get rid of maybe her job or not have any income, because that'll just be putting herself in a crazy situation, especially with this being such a unique marriage. It's not like they knew each other, had history beforehand. I remember in past episodes when he was asking her where she lives and where she works, almost like that was an issue. So I feel like he may bring up that again when they get home, like, oh, maybe you don't have to go back to work. Maybe you can just be home, or whatever the case is. We'll see what happens. But I think there just needs to be a balance with them, because Jose is just trying to do the most, like relax, breathe, because I think he'll scare her off completely. So that's my feelings about them.
Thank you very much, Chris. Also, he did make a point today about where they're going to live. It was on this episode, wasn't it? He made a point about them where they're going to live. And he was like, oh, I want you to move where I am. And I said, Now, like I said, this on a separate thing is cool. But it's just like, when you start adding up all these little things, I'm telling you, a couple months' time, this guy's going to be like, that dress ain't it. Go and change. Like, I feel that energy is about to come. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that energy is about to arise. He's going to be like, listen, I don't like your hair. Go and do it again. And he's going to be one of those guys where it's like, I'm paying for it, so go and do it again. It's like, it sounds cute until you realize he's doing way too much. But that's just my thoughts. But I appreciate it, Chris and Arthur. Seaway, what's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think I'm still at the same point I was last week, where Jose is still weird. And I'm still waiting for the shoe to drop, because it will. I think we're all assuming that he's gonna like turn into this very like machisto, aggressive, maybe controlling person. It could go that way. It could also be that he's overcompensating for something else. We'll see. He's definitely overcompensating for something. And I think Rachel has a right to have her hesitations. and she should continue to have her hesitations, and she should continue to watch, because although it is really excellent that he's kind of like set up his life and try to set up his wife for a wife, set up his life for a wife. I think that's what we all want. So somebody said that earlier during the open floor. I think it's really good that he's done that and he's stable financially, because that's always so hard to find. And I think if it was just that, we would have no problems. Rachel would be sailing to the sunset. We would not have an issue. But again, with his checklist, I think he's still trying to. He's just moving too much. He's so wishy-washy right now. He I don't know. He's conforming to a lot of different things. So I wouldn't. If I were Rachel, I would be concerned. And I think that she should continue to be concerned. What
is going on?
What happened?
What happened, Kojo? Is that a mouse?
The mice have followed you to Birmingham?
Is that a mouse?
No. It was a moth. It went into my neck.
Oh my God.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Back to the show. What were you guys saying? Sorry about that. Apologies.
That completely.
I'm so sorry. Because I've got the light right there, so the moths, if they come, they get drawn to that straight away. But it went into my neck this time.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
I was gonna say something else. Oh, about what the dad told Rachel. It's so funny how, like, I feel like in society today we talk out 10 sides of our mouth, right? We tell women, oh yeah, you don't be so independent. You know, you shouldn't feel like you need to have all this stuff to prepare for your marriage's demise, right? And then on the same thread, you'll see a whole bunch of people talking about how men shouldn't give their wives spousal support and all this type of other stuff, and why don't she got a job and she shouldn't get spousal support. I'm like, y'all talk out 2 sides of y'all mouth. Should we be getting spousal support, or should we be plotting for our demise and making sure we have a bag? Please, somebody let me know.
You already know my fault, Seaway. Y'all should be paying for you lot should be paying for your own dinners. I already told you this already.
Oh, we're not doing that. We're not starting that. You already told me to on the strength in the room, so don't get me started. So doing what Jose, Rachel gotta keep her bag, because let me tell you, he looks like a type of person who will snatch everything from right up under her when he get mad. So she better listen to her daddy and keep her bag and watch that man, because he is weird. And somebody said in the comments, I'm not convinced that Rachel like Jose. I'm not convinced either. I'm not sure what all this lovey-dovey stuff is. Maybe she's just trying to like force herself to get into it. Because I don't know. I'm not convinced she really like him. We're going to see.
I don't know. You're a woman, so you can see things I can't see. I mean, I think she like him, but, you know, y'all can see something differently.
I think she's in a moment. Wait till the honeymoon is over and she see how crazy that is.
Yeah, but that's dependent upon him being crazy. Does she like him without him being crazy? I think she liking them kisses. But go for it, Ray.
What's up with her wanting to give 50%? Like, I don't understand that.
Oh, darling, don't be questioning her. She wants to pay her way. Why are you questioning her?
But pay her way how, though? If you want to pay your way, and I've said this before, if you want to pay your way, and I'm sure, you know, this is like basic accounting. If your husband is making $100,000, if he's making 10 times more than you, then he should contribute 10 times more than you. It's simple. It's math. It's numbers. So you have a joint account. You put 10 times more than her. She put in 10 times less than you. She still puts something in percentage to what she's earning. But she can't expect someone who's living a $100,000 lifestyle and she's living a $10,000 lifestyle and she wants to put 50% of that 100, which is 50, and she only has 10. How?
Who says she earns less? No, we don't know if she earns less or not.
But she said that. She said she has issues with money, remember?
No, she has issues with money. Not that she earns less. She has issues
But she
with
did
money.
say that. Remember she said
That's a completely different thing.
But remember she said she spends her money and she's having issues with money.
That's
and
her
she's
problem.
Not up to par.
That's got nothing to do with 50%. That's her problem. She needs to work out how to spend the money appropriately.
But remember she said that she has an issue with it and she's reckless? And that
she's
is problematic?
Reckless, but that's nothing to do with how much she actually earns. She's got a problem with spending money. That's her issue. Listen, don't come up short when the rent is due, okay? 50%.
So Kojo, do you agree? Kojo, hold on a second. Kojo, do you agree then with Jose when he's saying that even though he is making a lot of money, that the woman he marries should be able to rise to his level and come with 50%? So you agree with Jose?
No, I don't think that's necessarily. I don't agree with that per se. Like again, I think obviously, I think a fair contribution is a fair contribution depending on what you guys agree on. You know what I mean? If she wants to pay 50%, why am I stopping her from doing it? Do you know what I mean?
But she also said, Kojo, that she doesn't have the 2 houses and the 3 houses in the same. I don't know. That's what I got from it. I got from her that she felt that his lifestyle was a little bit more than hers. That was the vibe that I got. Maybe I misread that, but that's what I was receiving from her. So I would just say to her, less is more. Be observant. Don't put the pressure on you. And if he wants to pay for stuff, pay for stuff. And until maybe you start, women's instinct. Maybe she's feeling some things that are controlling. But I also think some of that comes from her too, and her experience and her biases and her trauma.
I was going to say, I think it's a control mechanism. I think she's saying...
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think she's saying, I want to pay 50% because when you've been controlled or you've gone through something where someone has a dominance over you, she's saying like, hey, that's not going to ever happen to me again. So I'm going to pay my way so you don't feel like I don't owe you anything. I think that's what she's trying to do. Does it make a lot of sense? If let's just say we're going to take for granted that he makes 4 times what she makes, okay, and has 3 times the assets. Does it make logistical sense for a married couple for her to be paying 50%? Probably not. But she's going to say that once you've been controlled, you don't want anyone to ever have anything over you. So I think that's why she keeps doing that. And it may actually flip the whole script because Jose may be like, oh, I finally got a girl who want to pay 50, you only got to pay 10. Because that's how life goes. That man could have been preaching his whole life, when I get married, I want my wife to pay 50%. Then he gets a wife who wants to pay 50%, and then he only wants her to pay 10.
That's true too, yeah. That's fair.
I think what he really wants is a willing participant in the contributions. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I think that's what all men really want. It's just like, I mean, unless you're super rich, then it's completely different. We're not in the same brackets. But I think it's nice for us men to see that you guys are in this together. Sometimes when I hear this rhetoric about men pay all the bills, it's very expectancy and not very partnership at all. It's more like, this man should do this for me, and that's what I expect. And it's like, there's no partnership in that. And I think that's maybe where he's trying to change that narrative. It's just about the way he said it. Actually, I still feel a way about the way he said it, because the energy he used about to say women is what still gets me. But I think as men, and maybe Sean will say yes or no, I don't know, but I think we just want to see that there's a contribution being had here. There's someone who's putting this together, and you already know how I feel. Because look, we're already speculating that he earns 3 times more. How about he earns the same amount of her, and she's really dead with her money? She doesn't know how to handle her money, not good with her finances. That's why she owns nothing. Because remember, he's very strict with what he does. I don't agree the way he does it, but he's very strict with his finances and very strict with his budgeting. So if they were earning the same amount, the disposable income is not going to be the same, because my girl here is happy to have luxury over actually getting assets, right? We're in this place again. We're at the Olivia and Brett situation all over again. You actually earn more than Brett. This was like 2 seasons ago, and you didn't have anything, darling. At that point, we have to start asking questions as to where's your end goal. Do you know what I mean? So I think here, I actually understand why I agree with Seaway in the fact that I think she does the 50% partly because it's about making sure there's no control over her. If she pays her way, you can't say nothing at the end of the day. She also is not fooling herself or kidding herself that she's lured herself into this false sense of security that you're going to take care of me every single time. But I think they can negotiate on that. I think they can negotiate if the finances are shown that, he earns considerably more than her. If he earns considerably more. Let me ask a question. If he earns the same amount of her, are we complaining that she's paying 50%?
If they make the same amount of money?
Yeah.
And she wants to pay 50%?
Yeah.
That sounds logistical to me.
Would you do it?
Absolutely. But I've also said if I made more money than the guy, I would put more in too. But that's me.
We appreciate you, Ray. Seaway. We know Ray's down to earth. Seaway. Are you on the highway or are you on the... What are you saying?
If we made the same amount?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think if we made the same amount, we could split it. Or maybe 60-40.
Why is it 64? You earn the same amount. I don't get this.
Who's taking the 60?
C-Way's hilarious. I love C-Way.
C-Way just wants my smoke tonight.
I'm all about what's practical. Stop it, Rainbow. I grew up seeing my parents both make the same amount of money, and they both flip flop different times. Sometimes my mother made more, sometimes my dad made more. It depends. What?
I'm looking at the comments.
What are they saying?
Wait. See what's in the story, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
And depending on who made more at the time, they would handle different levels of stuff. But no matter who made more, my dad always paid the mortgage. But that doesn't mean that he was paying all the money, because sometimes, my dad's paying the mortgage, my mother's paying the college tuition. You know what I'm saying? Stuff equal out. I don't get into all of this like minutia. It's the mindset to me. I want my husband to have the mindset that he wants to try to carry that part of the relationship to the best of his ability. But it's a partnership first and foremost. You got to make sure that the ship is not sinking, no matter how you make sure the ship isn't sinking. So if we're making 50-50, we're making the same amount of money. Does it make sense for you to pay all the bills and I pay nothing, and then you have nothing at the end of the day? That literally logistically doesn't make any sense. So I'm all about what's practical. But I think the relationship changes when you're sharing everything. It may tilt the relationship a little bit.
How does it change? I want to know, how does it change? Do you stop respecting him as a man?
No, it's not about respect. I just feel like when you, as a woman, when you're carrying a lot of the financial burden or half of the financial burden, you're going to have half of the financial burden type of mentality and issues and mindsets and things like that. It's not about respect. We all end up going to work and doing the same thing. I think a lot of the behavior that the red pill community or even just regular men want comes from a woman having less responsibility. All that stuff that they want. Okay, fine, Rainbow, you're done. They want a woman who's relaxed and chill and all this type of other stuff. When you're going to work and you got deadlines and stuff like that, and on top of that you got kids, I mean, you're just not going to get that that passive energy all the time. So it's a give and take. So everybody can choose what they want.
Wait, passive energy? What passive energy are you talking about? I just want to flesh this out. Mm-hmm.
The relaxed energy, the feminine energy, whatever you guys say. I'm just getting
friendliness, agreement. You're not gonna be agreeing if the money ain't moneying.
This is where I wanted to go, Sean. This is where I wanted to go. This is exactly why we have issues. Your respect is dependent, and that's why I say respect. Your respect of you now showing your passivity is dependent upon me making sure that I pay majority of the bills. When I do that, you can then relax, right? What if I'm under stress due to the financial constraint? Because I'm talking in respect of not like this is why the red pill community, forget them, but this is why these conversations always go kind of, I won't even say left, but I think the nuances happen, right? This is why the statistics come out all the time. The only top percent are 10% of those kind of people that earn over six figures. The rest of us are normal human beings. Most people do not earn enough to pay your bills and pay my bills. So if we're really only and this is why I'll say this, those men too who are paying half and you don't want to know how to do chores, we got problems with you, because I don't understand that mentality either. How children are only left to your wife and she's going to work at the same time and you don't want to do children runs and stuff like that. You're mad, yeah. You're asking for a robot. I'm not about that life either. But surely we should be working our hardest, both parties, to make sure that we shouldn't be losing our softer edge as a woman because you're having to contribute when, like I said, the majority of men cannot afford to have a lifestyle where they pay your bills. There's only 10% who earn over six figures. Only 10%. So surely there should be a renewal of our mindsets to think about the way that we are acting in this relationship. I'm talking from a male perspective now, so the woman can also contribute in a second. For us as males, when I'm hearing that, this is what I'm saying about expectancy versus partnership. I was hearing it going, okay, I hear what you're saying. So you're not going to give me your full femininity because you have to pay some bills. Guess what? We ain't going to eat if we don't pay some bills. It's like, fam, like I can't afford to pay all your bills.
but that's not, I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and I'm not saying that you get a pass for disrespect because you're paying bills. You get a pass to be rude.
Oh yeah, no.
To do any of that. I'm just saying and I think you made a good point. If our incomes require us to do what is required, then what is required has to be done. And you can't have a woman picking up some of the slack or half of the slack or whatever, paying bills, and then want her to fall into all of these traditional roles. I just feel like that's where people get it twisted. And when she's too tired to clean your drawers, do all the laundry, take care of the kids because she's also working 8 hours a day. Then you want this softness that she doesn't have, that she doesn't physically have, is what I'm saying. What a lot of men want comes from a lifestyle that, you're right, doesn't really exist anymore. For the reality, even if you're making six figures, people make six figures, they want 6-figure homes. So now two people still got to work. You don't hardly see anyone living off of one income anymore. It's just not the reality. So I just think that we kind of have to adjust. But no,
who's getting that soft woman then? Who's getting that soft woman? If 6-figure men are also having to ask you to work too, who's getting the soft woman?
I think there's a soft woman in us all. I think we all have moments, but I think when you are a working woman doing all of these things, sometimes you're gonna be a little rough. Maybe it's just reality. I'm not saying that you can't be soft sometimes. We should all do our best, right? We should all do our best. But I think in the reality nowadays, a lot of women are falling into masculine roles. This whole hypergamy movement comes from women voluntarily taking care of men living off of women. I mean, we have so many men living off of women right now. It is insane. But yet those same women are supposed to be feminine when they're doing all the work. Like, no, I mean, that's just not. But
that's not the example I gave.
I just think like Seaway and the part where I'm hearing from Kojo, it's not about the 50-50 or any aspect of the finances, but your femininity and who you are as a person should not be contingent on financial circumstances in your household. If you are an agreeable person, if you love your husband, if you respect him, if you desire him, that should be consistent and throughout. Obviously, as long as he is respecting you and treating you with love and care, it should be a mutual exchange. And my opinion, 50-50 is something that somebody created that set us up all for disaster.
I agree.
Because it don't exist. There's no such thing as 50-50 anywhere, right? And that concept has us chasing something that is not really realistic. It's very abnormal for two people to make the same thing, right? It's abnormal. Does it happen? Sure. There's a one-legged giraffe running around in the Serengeti. I'm sure about it. But is that the norm? No. The norm is that somebody makes more than the other. As times have changed, yeah, there are more women that make more than their men, or women are making more nowadays. I get that. For me and mine, it wasn't about that. It was about what's for the greater good of my household. When I was married, it was about what's going to take care of our household, right? What's going to be for the greater good, whether it's for savings, for taking care of our home, who's keeping a reserve fund so that when something goes wrong in the house, which it inevitably will, how are we taking care of that? How is our future set up? Do we have savings? You know, like it's more complicated than that. And we get so fixed on a 50-50, where you're not going to move. You're just going to be stuck at that point because life is ever evolving. And some things might be 100% on one partner and 0% on the other. In some instances, that's finances. Some of my friends now, they didn't start out that way, but the wife stays at home and the husband works. And they do just well. And they have figured it out, right? Whether it's advancing in their careers, doing whatever they needed to do in order to sustain that household. But in other aspects, there's other things. Some situations both are working, but in other aspects of the home, whoever does one thing better owns it. We get so caught up on this, and this is why marriages are failing, because I'm chasing an ideal that's not necessarily, who told you that's the right thing? Like, who told you 50-50 is perfect and is going to be the key to your happiness? I just think, like, let's get over that and let's focus on the marriage. Let's focus on each other. Let's focus on doing things so that we're not a Mila or a Gil where we are betraying our partner or we're not moving forward, right? Those are the things that are more substantive. This 50-50 nonsense is just going to just be cause for contention. Nobody's going to agree.
I agree with Sean. You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Just decided to go out. Let me ask a question. So if, let's say I earn enough bread that you don't have to work here, and I say to you, I'm so tired, I have no space to be emotionally available to you. I have no time to be emotionally receptive to you. I have no time to be emotionally intelligent at this moment. Just take me as I am. Would you accept that as an excuse because I worked hard that day? Would that be an acceptable excuse that I worked 40 hours during the course of the week? I don't have time to be emotional the way you want me to be. Would that be an acceptable thing for you?
Is that every day?
Yeah, every day, because I work every day, B.
Oh my God.
I feel like you cussing me out right now.
I'm not.
Well, dang. If you mad at me, Kojo, just say that. No, just playing.
just a little bit, girl.
I'm just joking. I know you're feeling the conversation. That's definitely not a marriage I'd want to live in every day. If you're never emotionally available, that's not going to work. But I do understand having a tough day, because let's be honest, it's not rainbows and fairy tales every day. There's moments where you walk in the house and you're like, I don't want to hear no complaints. I don't want to hear what I didn't do. I just need to like zone out, relax. I need my time. Right. And so that's okay. There's moments. We're not perfect. Everybody, we're going to go through things and have days. Yeah, we have to learn how to communicate that with our partner, right? And not give them that silent treatment and want them to read our minds. But if it's a daily thing, if that's how we live our lives, that's not going to work, because that's something that's needed. And what can I do to help? Yes, I can't go and work at your job for you, but what can I do in the relationship to help if there's something missing somewhere, you know, and vice versa. So I think that's important. But being in a relationship where you're never emotionally available, no, that's not okay.
Ray, C-Way?
I really don't understand this conversation, because I have girlfriends who pay for their husbands. You know, I have girlfriends who have husbands who stay at home. I have girlfriends whose husbands pay for them. You know, so for me, I always say this every week. It's about service. If you're of service to your partner, vice versa, that's what a marriage is to me. How can I make your life better? How can you make my life better? How can we make our lives better? How can we make our children's lives better? You know, our relatives, the community's lives better. Like, how do we build? That's what I would be thinking about. So I don't care if a dude comes in a relationship with me, more money, the same money, less money than me. If he comes with the spirit of he's happy where he is, he's passionate, he's ready to go, he's respectful, he's for me, he's loyal, let's get it. Let's do it. But that's me, though. So I don't really understand this conversation.
See you?
I think to your question, I mean, there's some women who will take you not being emotionally available for all the days of the land if they can have their life paid for. That's not a bargain I'm making or deal I'm making with the devil. But there are people who would make that deal. For me, no. I mean, you like people said in the comments, you get grace for a few hard days, but living a life just because you pay bills wouldn't be enough for me to be emotionally unavailable every day. But I think to Sean, I guess, and Ray's point kind of together, I just think this whole marriage thing, people who are in real productive marriages and relationships know that this is all about a partnership. However you work it out is how you work it out. And your character is what defines how you work things out, not your money, because money comes and goes. And I think that if this whole pandemic didn't teach us that, you can have a job one day and not have a job the other. So I hope your relationship wasn't just dependent on what the other person can do for you financially, because you guys may need to rough it out together, and a lot of people are in that situation. So I think as long as you're getting the stuff done and you have the right mentality, I think that is what goes a long way. For me, having a man that really wants to take care of me, not just money wise, but just wants to be there for me, is important to me. And then if there was a time where that wasn't financially possible, that wouldn't change anything, because I know in the spirit of you, I know what you would want to do for me, even if you couldn't. So I think that's what matters, because I've been with and around people who they may not have that spirit. They may be trying to figure out what they can get from me, and that's the type of man I would want. So
I respect that.
I think that's kind of where that goes.
I respect that. I brought up that conversation because I think a lot of times as men we hear a narrative which is really geared towards, like I said, where I was taking it to, and I was asking, the reason why I said about the emotionally unavailable was because that's what I'm hearing from the ladies. Because you work, suddenly you can't be feminine and you can't be soft. It's an excuse. Because I just gave the point. If you don't work and I work, can I make the excuse that I'm too tired to give you more of myself? I can't make that excuse. I can't. I can't make that as an excuse. That's because I work and I pay all the bills and I do everything for you financially and take care of your world. That now when I come home, I don't have time for you. I don't have energy for you. It's not. You can't use that as an excuse. It won't make a productive relationship. So there has to be that give and take. So when I'm hearing sometimes from women, that's what it sounds like. Sometimes to me, when I'm here, I'm like, damn. So what? Because you have to pay a little bit of a bill, y'all just gonna forget that you can be feminine. Okay, cool. If that's the case, then I think if men start doing that, which a lot of men do that anyway, they don't need an excuse to do that, to be honest. But if a good man does that too, this is gonna ruin a lot of relationships. I think we have to push beyond that and say, listen, is it part of my character? And I think I agree with you, Seaway and Ray and Chris Alpha. Part of my character is I want to be able to do these nice things for you. I want to be able to provide for you, and I want to be able to look after you. It's just how does that look, and what's acceptable for each individual partner. But yeah, good conversation, by the way. I like to stir the pot a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We still have a debate about first dates later on. But anyway, yeah. So finishing off with Jose and Rachel, because we kind of went off there. I apologize. What was he saying, Rachel and Jose? Has anyone else got any other points about Jose and Rachel? Yes, Rachel.
Yeah, I don't have anything pretty much to say about that. I want to see more about what happens and if Jose actually shows real, because right now we see a little bit of controlling, some real controlling traits. And let's see how Rachel deals with him. But I need to see more about them, more from them.
Okay.
Jojo, people say you're reaching for the stars, and I agree, but I'm just letting you have it.
Do you know why?
He's reaching for the stars?
The reason why is because people make an assumption that men don't help at home. Listen, I don't know what homes you lot come from, but the homes I know, men help at home, men help with the kids, men help with cooking, men help this. Right. So there's a mindset that I can understand that maybe the environments people are coming from, men don't do these things. So when I hear people say, I'm like, was that what you lot came from? Because I don't know that world. The world I know, and even in the African household, my friend, you are going to be helping. Like, even the dad will have to do stuff. Like, my dad was a neat freak. The cleaning that this guy does, mum can't touch it, bruv. He has to clean. Do you know what I mean? So, things with the kids, he would get involved. So, I don't know. Maybe it's what people are seeing, that some women do all of that stuff, and the men don't get involved. And that's why I'm saying I agree with you. That is ludicrous. Looking after kids is a full-time job.
Yes, it is.
It's a full-time job on its own. Yeah, so that way I'll say, yeah.
That is the perspective. There's a lot of women out here who are doing all of those things, and they're working. They're basically doing everything. Okay. And then a man comes around and says, "I want you to be feminine. I want you to be soft and everything." It's like I'm sorry. Like, please help me find time for me to be all soft and delicate when I'm paying all the bills, cleaning everything, and taking care of the kids while you're doing what? So. I
mean, statistically, it is stated that 85% of Black female households are the women who are the household breadwinners, the head of the households, the financial. Over 85% of Black households in America are ran by Black women. Right, Siwe? That's like the statistics out there.
It's pretty high.
Yeah. And the men aren't active, or they're not really, or they're making less, or they're not involved. It's tough.
Mandem, talk to your brothers, please. This is unacceptable. It's that simple. It's unacceptable. Yes, Chris,
Sean's
Matthew,
pretty
go
quiet. Sean
said he's ready for. Sean said I've already fought my battles. What are you saying, Chris?
No, I was just saying it's important to make sure that the focus becomes supporting each other.
Yeah.
Because what you need in your first 5 years of marriage may not be what you need in, your next 5, right? And so you want to be able to support each other for the advancement of the relationship. And so, yeah, we can have the whole, you pay this, you pay that. That may look different in 5 years. Maybe she'll earn a whole bunch more. She may out earn him at that point. Then things may change, right? There's just so many different scenarios. Maybe at the beginning when the kids are young, she's home. Maybe when they go to school, she's not home anymore, right? So there's so many changes that takes place during relationships, a marriage, and a household. And so it's important that the focus, yes, money is a big, big, big deal, but that support of each other and the relationship is important as well.
Appreciate Chris Nartha. Sean, do you want to listen? The ladies have jumped off. Listen, I know what they. So I want you to give us a benediction because we've reached the end. It's been one of those conversations. I loved it.
I feel like I need a nap after this. So, what I would say is, as we are continuing to see these couples, one, we want to understand if they are prepared for marriage, right? So when we look at, let's start with the first that we just left off with. So Jose and Rachel, are they doing the work that's necessary to prepare them to have a successful marriage once they're home? And I think we're starting to see some of those initial connections that are very important. They seem to be attracted to each other. I don't know if it's real or not or lasting, but they seem that. So let's hope that they can work through this financial piece, which is big, obviously based on the discussion that we had about it tonight. But hopefully they can come to terms and work through that, because them being on the same page and what works for them, I would say, is most important. Not a percentage, not a ratio, but what works for them and what is going to be the best for Rachel and Jose. When it comes to Brett and Ryan, I don't know. I hope they wake up over these next few episodes and kind of kick it into high gear. And let's see if there's a real connection between these two. If not, then I think we're in for a bumpy ride. Bao and Johnny, I'm so excited to see that there's a glimmer of hope for these two. Hopefully they could continue progressing. They've got so much in common, such a connection with each other. I'm just hoping that they will continue at the pace that they have been going up to at this point. Then we have, shucks, who am I missing? I know I had this Gil and Mila. Who else is there, Coach? Michaela and Zach. Thank you. Yes, so Zach and Michaela. I'm actually excited for seeing a preview of Hurricane K. I want the storm. I want to see what we're going to get, because maybe it'll liven up some of these scenes. She's given us a taste of it with the COVID, thing with Zack. So I want to see Hurricane K. I want to meet her. I want to be a storm watcher. Lastly, Gil and Mila. Mila, put the complaints away. I'm going to do a complaint count for you, because at the end of the day, it's too much complaining and not enough substance about who you are and what you bring to the table. I would love to see what is going to be beneficial, what a man would benefit or anyone would benefit, namely Gil, from being in a relationship with you, right? Gil, we got it. I hope you're listening out there. The ladies are not pleased, bro. Don't run your mouth. Don't run your mouth outside of the marital household and talking about your wife. I don't care what she does. Don't tell nobody. All right, bro? Don't tell nobody. Keep it to yourself. All right? So love you guys. Great commenting. It was a great night. I'm exhausted. I don't have the normal fire that I have because Ray and Seaway completely wore me out tonight. So appreciate everybody. Back to you, Coach.
I appreciate it. Just on that, let me put this clip there for you. I felt that in my spirit, sir. Yes, guys, it's been a crazy show. You lot turned out in your droves, and I appreciate that.
Oh my God.
You know, it's been a good conversation. It's been a good conversation. We enjoyed, you know. So yeah, continue the conversation in the comments down below. If you agree, you disagree, I love it. Comment down below. You know what I'm saying? You know, I always like to, as Kia says, you know, I like to be a little bit messy. You know, add a little bit of spice to the conversation, get them flowing. I want you guys to comment down below. Let us know what your thoughts were. Maybe you agree, maybe you didn't agree. I don't know, but comment in the comment section. We'd love to see you guys soon. So appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We will see you guys soon for another review. See you on Saturday specifically. Hey, watch out, next week we should have the interviews for Put a Ring on It. I've pulled off a couple strings out here, you get me? So I got you guys, yeah? I got you, don't worry, I got you, yeah? Little black, you know what time it is.